I've been a Drake fan since around 2009. The first rapper I ever started listening to actually was Lil Wayne. And when he released the Carter 3 a year prior, he claimed he was the best rapper alive, and I wholeheartedly believed him. So when he signed Drake to Young Money and they'd go on to appear on dozens of songs together, I was led to believe that Drake was next. He would one day take over for Wayne and be the most popular, most revered rapper in the world. I never said this out loud to anyone besides my brother at the time, but in a way, I think I was right. I think it's fair to argue that Drake would ultimately become even more famous than Lil Wayne. Never the better rapper, to be clear, but like a bigger star. And I felt so validated. It's one of the things that I take a lot of pride in, is being right about people that I see a lot of potential in, like musician, celebrity, or otherwise. And I'd been following Drake for the past decade and a half, since his first album all the way through now. I would say I am a fan of Drake's music. But then, this year, the funniest thing happened. Derapy. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Back in April of 2024, as the avid Drake fan that I am, I came across Drake's song Push Ups, his first official diss towards Kendrick Lamar, and what you're about to hear was me detailing the events leading up to that song's release and talking about it in a very glowing fashion, just not knowing what was going to come next. Metro! Shut your voice up and make some drugs hit them. Okay, how did we get here? Derapy. Let's start with First Person Shooter, a song by Drake on his newest album, For All the Dogs, featuring J. Cole. That's where we're going to start today.
First person shooter mode, we turning your song to a funeral. To them niggas that say they don't office, you better be talking about working in cubicles. Yeah, them boys had a lot, but I knew the code. A lot of niggas debating my numero. Not the 3, not the 2, I'm the UNO.
So J. Cole comes into this song with a lot of energy, talking about how he's not the 3, he's not the 2, he's actually the 1. I want you to keep that in mind moving forward. Just write that down, make a note of it, just lock it away. Just think about that. He's not 3, he's not 2, he's number 1, okay?
Yeah. Numero UNO, me and Drizzy, this shit like the Super Bowl. Man, this shit done it big as the... Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl, but the difference is it's just two guys playing shit that they did in the studio. Niggas usually send their verses back to me and they be terrible, just like a 2-year-old.
A lot of dad bars from Drake ever since he was kind of forced to embrace the fact that he had a child. The verses be terrible like a 2-year-old, you know, terrible 2s. You get it. I just want to make sure that I'm giving enough like context and feedback on this song, so it's not like you're just tuning into a podcast to listen to somebody else's song. First Person Shooter, by the way, is one of my favorite songs that I've heard this year. I don't want what happens after this song to affect the fact that I do enjoy the song, okay? Let's keep listening, because there's a lot of important stuff here that's going to be very important later.
I love a dinner with some fine women. When they start debating about who the GOAT, I'm like, go ahead, say it then. Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who you bitches really rooting for? Like a kid that had bad from January to November, nigga, it's just you and Cole.
So now Drake is making it known that when people were debating who the GOAT is, the greatest of all time when it comes to rappers, hip-hop, etc., it's really just between him and J. Cole. Interesting.
It ain't no follow for me. Still in this bitch getting bigger. They waiting on the kid to come drop like a father to be. Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K Dot? Is it Aubrey or me? We the big 3 like we started a league. But right,
I just wanted to highlight that moment, because that moment,
is it K Dot? Is it Aubrey or me? We the big 3 like we started a league.
Did not sit well with one Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. So it goes without saying that the biggest 3 names in rap or hip-hop in the past decade has been Kendrick Lamar,
1,
J. Cole,
2,
and Drake.
3.
Drake clearly has the most commercial success. Kendrick Lamar clearly has the most critical acclaim. J. Cole seems to have a great deal of respect.
Buddy did Cole dirty right here.
As far as a rapper that has displayed a good amount of longevity, technical skill, and success when it comes to rap albums that have minimal oftentimes no features. J. Cole has shown a great deal of talent and success since his breakout album 2014 Forest Hill Drives, which of course came out in 2014, all the way through present day. So for the past decade, J. Cole has been one of the top artists in the game. It goes without saying that Drake has been a big deal ever since Take Care, one of my favorite rap albums ever, dropped in 2011. That was 13 years ago. We're talking Obama's first term. Drake was a very big deal with songs like Headlines and Take Care with Rihanna and Marvin's Room, just to name a few. All the way up until Nothing Was the Same with songs like Started From the Bottom. And then, if you're reading this, it's too late, songs like Energy and 10 Bands, that tape with Future, who, well, we'll talk about later. 2016 with Views had One Dance on it, which isn't a rap song, but was listened to, I don't know, maybe a billion times or so. So we're talking 2011 to 2016. That's 5 years right there. 2018, Scorpion comes out. Nice for what? God's Plan, another couple billion listens. So Drake, it goes without saying, really big deal. Kendrick Lamar, I mean, to drop back-to-back classic albums, I don't know if there have ever been two albums back-to-back as awesome and as successful as Good Kid, Mad City and then To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly is, in fact, my favorite rap album ever. So for J. Cole to come out and say, hey, I'm the best among us is quite a bold claim. So we're going to go ahead and skip the rest of this song. If you want to listen to the rest of First Person Shooter, if you haven't already heard it, go ahead and do that. I'm not going to play the rest of it. The point is, J. Cole came out on this song and said, it's really just the three of us, but I feel like I'm kind of at the top here. So let's hear what Kendrick has to say about that in a feature that he did on Metro Boomin and Future's album, We Don't Trust You. This came out of nowhere. It was a very big deal. Let's hear what Kendrick Lamar's response is to being in the big three and not number one.
These niggas talking out of their neck. Don't put no coffin out of your mouth. I'm way too paranoid for a threat. Hey, let's get it, bro. DOT, the money, power, respect. The last one is better. Say yes, a lot of goofies with a check. I mean,
Shout out Dissect Podcast for making this point, but I really do believe when Kendrick Lamar says there's a lot of goofies with a check, I really do think he's directly referring to Drake. Because Goofy is like a silly dog from Disney, and check refers to... It could mean a verified check mark on Instagram or Twitter. It could mean check as in goofy, silly people with a lot of money. And it could also mean check like Nike, who Drake has a deal with. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a reach. It is absolutely not. Kendrick Lamar received a Pulitzer Prize for his lyricism, wordplay, and narrative storytelling for the album Damn. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch. Just to be clear, the reason why we're listening to this specific verse is because this is a response to J. Cole and Drake directly. So this is the start of the actual beef. Let's continue.
I hold them sentiments symbolic. Oh, my temperament bipolar, I choose violence. Okay, let's get it up. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem. Niggas clicking up, but pay not be legit. No 40 water, tell him. Yeah, get up with me. Fuck sneak this and first person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. I crash out like fuck rap. This Melly Mel if I had to. Got 2 T's with me. I'm snatching chains and burning tattoos. It's up.
So it's very clear that Kendrick Lamar is referring directly to Drake and J. Cole by mentioning the First Person Shooter song by name. He also talks about people clicking up the two of them coming together and saying that they are the two best in the game. He also says he's snatching chains and burning tattoos. I do not know what that is referring to. I don't think that's a literal thing, which is ironic because he just says, I hope your sentiments are symbolic, which is basically his way of saying, I hope you guys are joking. I hope that when you guys are talking about being the two biggest rappers and it really just being the three of us, but I'm not number one, I hope you guys are just like, I hope this is all like symbolic of something else because you can't be for real. But he is being very clear about who he's talking to, what he's talking about, and I love it. Like this is something that's been missing from rap in a long time. Not diss tracks in general, but diss tracks between rappers that are this big, like the biggest. It's really awesome, and hearing this was so jarring for me as somebody that's a fan of all three of them.
Lost too many soldiers not to play it safe. If he walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K. Think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD. Motherfuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me. Nigga, boom. I'm really like that. And your best work is a light pack. Nigga, Prince outlived Mike Jack. Nigga, boom.
Unless it wasn't super clear that Kendrick Lamar is talking about these two individuals. I mean, He literally him saying, fuck the big three, it's just Big Me, is a direct response to J. Cole saying that the three of them are basically the big three. And he emphasizes this by screaming bum multiple times, which I think is the most underrated and funny part of this entire diss. Just yelling the word bum. Like, Kendrick Lamar yelling bum has been stuck in my head for weeks now. Every time somebody does something that is unsatisfactory, I just hear that bum. Just hear that sound. Just him yelling bum in my head. So thank you, Kendrick, for that. But he wants to make it clear that we are not the same. We are on different levels. I have accomplished more, or people like me more, or my work speaks for itself in a way that is completely different than the both of you. So, yeah, let's go ahead and finish the track, and then we'll talk more about what's to come.
For all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these nines. He gon' see Pet Cemetery, nigga.
For all your dogs getting buried. For All the Dogs is the name of Drake's album. So he's like, your album is getting buried. That's a K with all them nines. He gonna see Pet Cemetery? Oh my God. I mean, what a beautiful way to end a diss verse. I mean, a lot of times, many great movies are ruined by the third act, by the ending. But what a beautiful and succinct way to end a diss. For all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all the nines. K for Kendrick. 9 with the guns. He gonna see Pet Cemetery, where dogs go to die. I mean,
Goofy had a
chef's kiss. Beautiful. I love it. So J. Cole comes out, says we're the best. I'm the best. We're the big three, but I'm the UNO.
Uno.
Drake says it's J. Cole and I. We're looking at each other like the Spider-Man meme. It's really just the two of us at the top. We're big as the Super Bowl. Kendrick comes in and says, your best work is a light pack, which is really, really tough. That's a really tough thing to say. To say the best thing you've ever accomplished is pretty mid. It's kind of light. It's kind of light work. But Kendrick has a point. Not that their best work is trash, because I think some of Drake's best work is really, really, really impressive. J. Cole also. I'm not as big of a fan as J. Cole albums as the average J. Cole fan. But there's some verses, there's some wordplay, there's some lyricism. When J. Cole is at his best, I believe he's one of the best. So for Kendrick to call that a light pack, very, very, very rude. Very, very disrespectful. Now, I love the fact that we aren't too far into this podcast, and I feel comfortable going ahead and getting into J. Cole's response to Kendrick Lamar, which it turns out has kind of a sad ending. So we're going to go through J. Cole's response to Kendrick Lamar saying that he's a bum, his best work's a light pack, F the big three, it's just Big Me. Let's hear what J. Cole has to say in response. At the end of a tape, a collection of songs that J. Cole released titled Might Delete Later, there's a song called 7 Minute Drill that has now been deleted, but that doesn't really mean anything because when it comes to the internet, mistakes are forever, as Childish Gambino once said. And even though J. Cole would decide to delete this diss track, I think it's important to highlight some of the moments from that diss track before we, completely release J. Cole from this beef. Spoiler alert, J. Cole lost. If there was a fight that Kendrick started with like that, saying that his best work was a light pack and he's a bum, unfortunately, J. Cole decided to gracefully bow out after releasing his diss track. We'll get into that. First, let's listen to J. Cole's response.
Yeah. Turn it up.
First of all, I hate this beat.
Yeah, turn the vocal up. Light work, like it's PWC. It's a cold world. Keep the heat under your seat. I got a phone call. They say that somebody dissing. You want some attention? It come with extensions. My dog like say the word. He on bullshit. He itching. I'm putting so much work in these streets. He got pension. I told him chill out. How I look having henchmen. If shots get to popping, I'm the one doing the clinching.
Nothing has happened yet.
I came up in the Ville, so I'm good when it's tension. He still doing shows, but fell off like the Simpsons. Your first shit was classic, your last shit was tragic. Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it. Your third shit was massive, and that was your prime. I was trailing right behind, and I just now hit mine.
Look, I'm going to stop this right there. And if you want to listen to the rest of this diss track, you can either find it online or I'll leave a link in the description.
Nah.
This is where the diss track already lost me, because him trying to, before anything else, discredit Kendrick Lamar's albums.
Come on, man.
Kendrick Lamar's albums are so undeniably good that this is it's probably the worst thing that J. Cole could have tried to diss Kendrick Lamar on. Let's just go through what he says about these albums. Your first shit was classic, your last shit was tragic. Now here's the thing. Of course, the first one is classic. First of all, we're on a diss track and you're talking about how somebody's album is a classic. I feel like you're already kind of being a little bit too nice. The guy just screamed that you're a bum like 4 times, said your best work is a light pack. Boom! You come in and one of the first things you say is, your first album, dude, it was a classic. I liked it. You're already losing me. Your last... He says, your last shit was tragic. Now, Mr. Morale, the Big Stepper, I'm not going to hold you. J. Cole has a point here. There's a lot of sad stuff on that album. So maybe, yeah. I mean, you could call it tragic. But to say it was a bad album, I wouldn't go that far. Just because something is the least hype of a bunch doesn't mean that it's not good at all. I like In 95. I mean, even some of the sadder songs on there, one of the more introspective songs like Auntie Diaries and Mother I Sober, I believe is the name of the song. There are a couple of low points on there, but songs like Savior and Mirror, and I mean, it's just a pretty good album. I mean, saying that he's still doing shows but fell off like The Simpsons, first of all, just kind of corny. You're trying to make a diss and you're saying that somebody fell off like The Simpsons. First of all, The Simpsons have been going on forever. Bad example. If Kendrick Lamar is like The Simpsons, what an unbelievable run. And Kendrick Lamar is still pretty popular. So yeah. But this is the part that truly I find unforgivable. Your second shit put people to sleep, but they gassed it.
So that was a fucking lie.
To Pimp a Butterfly, the best and my favorite rap album I have ever heard. What part of this is boring exactly?
We gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright.
So J. Cole's diss track was not that great, okay? And everybody that was not a J. Cole fan, like a hardcore J. Cole fan, because again, I like J. Cole, but I heard the diss track and I was like, first of all, you're lying. Secondly, the beat's not great. It's has not even in the same universe as the Like That beat. I mean, the Like That beat is one of the better beats I've ever heard. That goes crazy, okay? So to come in on a trash beat, the lyrics have to be spectacular. But one of the first things you say is that To Pimp a Butterfly was boring. Shut up, J. Cole. You don't even mean it. And I'm not gonna go through J. Cole's whole apology. J. Cole's whole thing is, hey man, I was out here trying to discredit this dude's discography. He's at a festival live show, and he's basically saying, hey guys, I just want to squash the beef, dude. I didn't even really mean the diss track. I'm actually gonna delete it, which is hilarious because the song is on a tape that's called Might Delete Later, and he literally deleted it later, but that's besides the point. J. Cole doesn't really want problems. He says that he's just a man of peace. He likes Kendrick Lamar, and he's like apologizing. It's very awkward. I really hate it. I'm not upset that J. Cole doesn't want beef with Kendrick. I'm not upset that he doesn't want a diss track out where he's talking about how To Pimp a Butterfly isn't that good of an album. I'm upset that he created it because of pressure and then put it out and then deleted it. I just think it's lame. I'm sorry. Like, he apologized. I guess I accept the apology. I don't really care. Kendrick's got to feel great, by the way. He's like, I didn't even get a chance to come back and, you know, make another verse or another song to go at J. Cole. J. Cole gave up. I didn't even have to do anything. He just felt so much shame. So, you know what? I feel like we're doing pretty good on time. Let's go ahead and get into Drake's response, because Drake's response is real and it goes hard. and it's not nice, and I like that. So let's listen to Push-Ups by Drake.
Hey, I could never be nobody #1 fan. Your first #1, I had to put it in your hand. You pussies can't get booked outside America for nan. I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. I'm the hit maker y'all depend on. Backstage in my city, it was friend zone. You won't never take no chain off of us. How the fuck you big stepping with a size 7 man's on?
First of all, it goes without saying that this is a lot meaner than the J. Cole attempt. First things first, he says, I could never be nobody's #1 fan. Future, on his track, said that Drake was his #1 fan, so he's directly addressing him. He says, your first #1, I had to put it in your hand. Basically, Future's only good songs, a lot of his best songs are with Drake as a feature. He talks about being big in Japan. Somebody check the numbers on that, but I'm sure it's not crazy. Drake says he's the hit maker that y'all depend on. The reason why this is relevant is because by the time Drake was able to get this diss track out, so many people had dissed him. The Weeknd had dissed him. Kendrick, of course, dissed him. He's on a Future song. And Future and Drake used to be boys. They made an entire album together. They've made many a track together. And a lot of Future's biggest songs had Drake on them. So it's very, very bold of him to make that diss towards Drake, to allow that energy towards Drake. So, and how you big stepping with a size 7 men's on, that is very clearly a shot at Kendrick. And also the cover art for this song is basically what it looks like. If you look inside a shoe that has size 7 men's, you would see that this code on it. So, and the big steppin' is obviously a reference to Kendrick Lamar's newest album, Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper. So he's calling him a small person. He says no one's going to take a chain off of him because Kendrick Lamar said that he's snatching chains. So Drake is like, I'd love to see you try, you small fry. Bars. Maybe we should have put that one in there. Also, yeah, right after he says, this is the bark with the bite, what's up? Reference to For All the Dogs. So yeah, this is starting out very good. Let's listen to some more because there are no wasted bars here, it feels like.
This the part with the bite, nigga, what's up? I know my picture on the wall when y'all cook up. Extortion, baby, whole career, you been shook up. Cause Top told you drop it, give me 50 likes of push-ups. Hood, your last one brick, you really not on shit. They make excuses for you cause they hate to see me lit. Pull your contract cause we gotta see the split. The way you doing splits, bitch, your pants might rip.
A lot of funny bars here. That's such a Drake line. To be like, the way your contract is split, the splits are so crazy, your pants might rip. Every time I hear that, I think, because I've listened to this song a bunch of times, every time I hear that, I think of that episode of SpongeBob where he ripped his pants. He's like, I ripped my pants. That song goes hard. I might use that as the outro for this.
We are using it as the outro.
But yeah,
for this episode.
He starts talking about the splits because apparently, allegedly, reportedly, Kendrick Lamar has a deal where 50% of what he makes goes to his label, which is such a terrible deal. Imagine every single time, let's say you have a paycheck that pays you $2,000. Imagine giving up half of that. $1,000 of every $2,000 you make is going to whoever signed you. What an awful deal. And for somebody that claims to be on top, who's saying, forget a big three, it's big me. Yeah, so the biggest is giving half of their money to their label. Not a great look at all. So yeah, Drake's cooking.
You better do that motherfucking show inside the biddy. Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties. Top say drop, you better drop and give them 50.
This is not the first time that Drake, this is not the last time that Drake will mention Taylor Swift. So he's basically saying Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. So Kendrick, although he's somebody that comes off as this very tough guy, talking about snatching chains and burning tattoos. He talks about kind of being straight out the hood from Compton, like a real tough guy. But he'll hop on a track with Taylor Swift. And look, there's nothing wrong with hopping on a track with Taylor Swift. But it's hard to come out and say that you're this big tough guy and then hop on the Bad Blood remix at least twice. Because she had to do Taylor's version. He had to go and re-record his verse again. So, interesting. Oh, and then Drake proceeds to call him a pipsqueak, which is just funny, man.
Pipsqueak, pipe down, you ain't in no big three. SZA got you wiped down, Travis got you wiped down, Savage got you wiped down. Like a label, boy, you in a scope right now. And you gon' feel the aftermath of what I write down. I'm at the top of the mountain, so you tight now. Just to have this talk with your ass, I had to hike down. Big difference between Mike then and Mike now.
I feel like this sequence of bars is the most slept on in this entire song because Drake says a lot of cutting stuff to a lot of people, mainly Kendrick Lamar. But these bars right here are special. They deserve recognition. I know I sound like I am just riding Drake so hard. I just appreciate good art. I just want to go over this really quickly. Obviously, there's the, like your label, you in a scope right now. So Drake, I have you in your sights. You're also inner scope. It's whatever. It's nice little wordplay. This part right here, though, I'm at the top of the mountain, so you tight now. Just to have this talk with yo ass, I had to hike down.
Okay.
Yep. Come on, man.
That's kind of nice.
These are bars.
I hear you.
Big difference between Mike then and Mike now goes so hard people don't even realize. So Drake and Kanye West, who we might talk about later, and Kendrick Lamar, everybody's claiming to be the next Michael Jackson. Kendrick Lamar is wearing the glove at his concerts occasionally. Drake at the end of First Person Shooter was talking about how he's one away from Michael, as far as number ones, as far as Billboard success. Everybody wants to be Michael Jackson. Everybody's claiming that they're Michael Jackson. And Drake is saying there's a big difference between Mike then and Mike now. Everybody knows Michael Jackson was a very soft-spoken, non-confrontational human being. And Drake is saying the new Michael Jackson, which is him, is mean. He's outspoken. He's loud. And it's tough. Now, this next part kind of ties back into the very beginning of this episode. And it's turned into one of the funniest memes, just one of the funniest ongoing bits that has ever happened in hip-hop since I've been alive. Just listen. There's a point where the music cuts out entirely just to make sure that you hear what you're about to hear.
What the fuck is this, a 20v1, nigga? What's a prince to a king? He a son, nigga. Get more love in a city that you from, nigga. Metro, shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga.
I have never in my entire life, in the history of listening to rap music, heard a rapper target a producer, someone that doesn't even rap. Just the guy that made the beat for the person that dissed you. To tell them to just shut up and make drums is so rude. It's so dismissive. The man gets one bar. He gets one line. Not even a full rhyme scheme. Not even like a ABBA. Not even no punchline. No entendre. No simile. It's just shut up. Shut up. Go make some beats. Stop. So that's pretty great. I appreciate that. Don't even be in the studio with the person that is dissing me. Shut up. I just really wanted to highlight that. That is so good.
Hey, I be with some bodyguards like Whitney.
This is Derek from the future, and I just wanted to remind you all that Drake is the one that brought family into this first. This would ultimately lead to some pretty harsh consequences. I just want that to be known because the first time this episode came out, I didn't mention that, but Whitney gets name drop right here and it changes everything.
Top say drop your little midget ass, better fuck it. Hey, better drop and give me 50. Hey, drop and give me 50. Drop and give me 50. Hey, niggas really got me out here talking like I'm 50. Niggas really got me out here rapping what I'm living. I might take it latest girl and cuff her like I'm Ricky. Can't believe he jumping in, this nigga turning 50. Every song that made it on a chart he got from Drizzy. Spend that little check, you gotta stay up out my business.
By the way, Rick Ross also dissed Drake, which is what a compliment to have this many people dissing you at the same time. Future is dissing you. The Weeknd is dissing you. Rick Ross is dissing you. Kendrick Lamar is dissing you. A$AP Rocky is also dissing Drake. And it's just fascinating. All of these people have made songs with Drake. And to all attack him at the same time, it's almost like, do you even really... Drake could have actually been fine by not replying at all. He didn't even have to do anything. Just the fact that 8 people are trying to insult him simultaneously is kind of a win in itself. He could have just come out and tweeted how many people are going to diss me at the same time? You guys are the ones that are clicking up. I actually don't know if Kendrick Lamar wanted this level of Avengers team up to go against Drake. I think Kendrick Lamar would have been fine going at it on his own. If anything, I think it's complicated things for Kendrick. Somebody that sees themselves at the top of the hip-hop game. Now, Drake can't even diss him back. He has to diss 9 other people at the same time. It's tough. It's getting tough out here. I also don't want to not mention this. Drake mentioning Whitney by name. Whitney is the name of Kendrick Lamar's partner, the mother of his child, I'm pretty sure. And apparently he's been having some issues with his relationship, and Drake is highlighting that here, which is, again, just objectively not kind, but, that's what happens. This is rap beef. I don't think there are really any lines that need to be drawn. Drake took a pretty public L when it came to his rap beef with Pusha T. It got to the point where Drake didn't even want to say the guy's name out loud. He got into a beef with Pusha T, and Pusha T decided to tell everybody, hey guys, by the way, Drake has a son. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it, and nobody had. No one even knew. But Pusha T came out and was like, you're hiding a child. And Drake then had to be like, hey, guys, I guess, I do have a child. Didn't really want to share that with everybody because, the internet, people are mean, and I don't want my child being bullied or anything like that. But Pusha T was like, there are no rules in this rap beef. And now Drake is coming back like, Rick Ross, you're a chubby dude, you're like 50 years old, and your career is literally nothing without me. Kendrick Lamar, heard you had some problems with your relationship. Got to be tough. Oh, by the way, you're a pipsqueak. You're a midget. I didn't even know you could say that. I'm pretty sure you can't. Editor Derek, you might have to cut that out.
You'll be all right.
Sorry to little people, if you're listening to my show. He's going all out. He has even more. I don't think we're going to get into it today. I might have to do a follow-up because Drake dropped another diss before Kendrick even had a chance to respond, which is a real chess move. We'll get into the details of that. But first, let's just finish this song. My goodness.
In that fucking song, y'all got to not start the beef with us. This shit been brewing in a pot, now I'm heating up. I don't care what Cole think, that dot shit was weak as fuck. Champagne tripping, he is not fucking easing up.
Also, underrated, one of the funniest lines in the song. I don't care what J. Cole is talking about. Like, I know J. Cole dropped a diss track and then said he was sorry. He's like, I literally don't care. Kendrick, what'd you put out? Weak. Like it was butt. It was terrible. I just think that's so good. You can tell Drake really took his time with this. He actually put a lot of thought into this, or at least I think so. He came out later and was like, yeah, it took me like an hour or two to write this.
This was a mistake.
And people think that he's like lying about that. I think that people don't really think about just how long Drake has been rapping and writing raps. Like, if you're 20 years old, Drake was an extremely successful rapper when you were in like second or third grade. Like, people don't really think about how long he's been doing this and doing this at a very high level. Take Care won a Grammy. 13 years ago, Drake dropped a rap album that won a Grammy. Like, over a decade and a half almost of just consistent, like, top 5 popularity-wise rap success. And people were shocked that Drake is out here going hard in a rap beef like he doesn't know how to rap. I don't know. This is getting kind of long. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight some of the best moments from the end of this song. So he says, begging Kai Cenat, boy, you not beating us. Basically, Kai Cenat's one of the biggest streamers in the world. He's saying that even if Kendrick Lamar were to get on his hands and knees and ask a streamer to react to his song, like it wouldn't matter. Drake does numbers that no other rapper is comparing to these days. He says that money-wise, I'm out of here. You not sneaking up. He says, cornball, your show money, merch money, fee to us. Which is basically saying what Kendrick Lamar makes when he does a entire show is what Drake makes just by selling merch at any given time, which is quite a flex.
It is, however, not true.
Towards the end of the song, Drake says that this isn't even really everything that I have. Like, I have more. And the next time I talk about this, I'm going to talk about how Drake drops yet another diss track before Kendrick even has time to respond to this one, which was kind of dedicated to like a lot of people, like over half a dozen people. The next one Drake drops is pretty much all about Kendrick Lamar. It's 3 whole verses. It's an entire other song. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on so far with the big 3. Kendrick started it with the Like That verse. J. Cole tried to snap back, did apologize, unfortunately. Then Drake came back with the diss track that we just covered and with another one. So we'll get into that. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Editor Derek popping in to remind you, if you're on YouTube, like the video. If you are 30 minutes into a 5-hour video, it'd be kind of crazy to not like the video. You know, I feel like that's the least you can do. Oh, but also, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star rating. You can say whatever you want. Just make sure it's 5 stars. Helps, you know, the algorithm and all that. This is like a little break in the action. Drink some water, get up, stretch. You might have been hunched over the whole time you were listening to this, and come on, dude. Like, your back will thank you years from now. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the intermission. It is now Kendrick's turn.
I think it's possible that Drake simply underestimated how funny Kendrick Lamar is. Derapy. Last time we talked about the Kendrick and Drake beef, we talked about first-person shooter, how J. Cole came out and said it's the big three, with J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar. Then we talked about Like That, where Kendrick Lamar said, well, actually, you guys are bum. Your best work's a light pack. Then J. Cole comes out and drops 7 Minute Drill, which is a diss track directed at Kendrick Lamar. He tries to convince us, gaslight us, in fact, that To Pimp a Butterfly, which I think is arguably the best rap album of all time, J. Cole says it's kind of boring. After saying that in a booth, recording those words, releasing them publicly, J. Cole could not get a good night's sleep. Not only did he delete the track, which is ironic because it was on a EP titled Might Delete Later. He literally deleted it later. He apologized publicly on stage at a festival and said, I didn't even really mean that stuff. I actually like Kendrick Lamar and his music. I don't want any of these problems. Then Drake dropped his diss track, Push-Ups, and although it wasn't as focused as we would like it to be, it was pretty direct when talking about Kendrick Lamar. You know, made fun of his height a little bit, tells Metro to shut up, which I think is really funny. And amongst other things, it was a pretty good track. And today, we're going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, which is just 6 minutes. 6 straight minutes of just straight
Annihilation.
Just
Devastation.
toughness. Humor, artistry, genius. You know what? I've been yapping too long. Let's listen to Euphoria together and let's talk about how Kendrick got a step ahead of Drake after the Push-Ups release. I'm so excited to share this with you. Okay, before we start this diss track towards Drake by Kendrick called Euphoria, Kendrick is already dissing Drake with the title of the diss track. Euphoria happens to be the same name of the popular HBO Max show that is centered around a bunch of high schoolers, teenagers that are using drugs very frequently, that are having sexual relations with older men. And I feel like a lot of the discourse surrounding Drake when it comes to criticisms or people poking fun at him have to do with the fact that Drake has historically been known to appreciate or enjoy rather the presence of women that are significantly younger than him. We're going to talk about that in great detail later, but the fact that the title of this track is Euphoria says a lot about Kendrick's mindset going into this beef. This is his very first track aimed directly at Drake himself, and the title of the track is already suggesting one of the worst things that a person can be accused of, which is taking advantage of children for, like, you know,
Nefarious, egregious
things. So we're already, like, before the song even starts, if I was Drake and I saw the title of the song, I'd be like, maybe I should reconsider who exactly I'm about to go to war with. No more teasing. Let's get into the actual song. So the reverse of this sample is Everything They Say About Me Is True. The original audio is from the 1978 film The Wiz, a remake of 1939's The Wizard of Oz. The full line from the movie is spoken by Richard Pryor, and he's saying, everything they say about me is true, I'm a phony. Now there is a lot here. He's obviously calling Drake a fraud, a phony, but also Michael Jackson is in the movie The Wizard of Oz.
Growing up, we called it the Black Wizard of Oz because there's the Wizard of Oz and there's the one with all the black people in it.
But also, Michael Jackson plays the Scarecrow in that movie, which is known for being inauthentic. He's literally a man made of straw, almost like a straw man. Ooh. And furthermore, okay, and shout out to Genius for this, Drake performed in a youth theater production of The Wizard of Oz as a child. If Kendrick somehow knew of this information, there's really only one explanation.
Euphoria.
Them superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate. Every antic is feeling distasteful. Why calculate? You're not as calculated. I can even predict your angles. Fabricating stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale. A pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection.
I love the way that this song starts out because it gives you the impression that it's actually going to be pretty chill. I was actually shocked upon first hearing it because I was like, is this the route that we're taking? But then I also noticed that the track was over 6 minutes and I was like, we're going to get some beat switches. It's going to turn up here for sure. So I do want to break down a couple of the first lyrics that we hear. The superpowers getting neutralized is definitely something that came to fruition. You're going to discover over the course of this song that almost everything that Kendrick says is going to happen ends up happening. He starts breaking down Drake's character, which I think has to hurt on a personal level. He talks about how Drake is paranoid and spiraling. He's moving like a degenerate. Every antic is feeling distasteful. I think that's definitely a reference to the tailor-made freestyle where Drake is using Kendrick's idol, Tupac, and also West Coast legend Snoop Dogg in order to make a point, in order to try and bait Kendrick. He also says that Drake is going to fabricate stories on the family front because he heard Kendrick's album.
Mother, ah.
Oh man, was he right? Because Drake completely misinterprets multiple things from Kendrick's album to try and diss him, and everybody sees it, and it is not a good look.
And I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I can double down on that line, but spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and habitual liar too. But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
So I love the line, I make music that electrify him, you make music that pacify him. First of all, on first listen, you could just be like, oh, he's saying that Drake's music is boring. But if you look a little bit deeper, as per I imagine Kendrick would expect you to, pacify is kind of like a pacifier. It's used to calm children down. And I think he might either be referring to Drake being a child, or the fact that he makes music for kids, or the fact that Drake may or may not just be into younger people in a not so appropriate way. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. There are some songs throughout this Kendrick and Drake beef that I won't feel the need to go through every single bit of the song, like line by line. But Kendrick is the type of artist that doesn't say things for no reason. There isn't a lot of filler. So we're going to be breaking down the majority of this song. And I hope you're ready for it, because I am.
You.
Shoo, 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 shoo.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I'm out the way, yeah, I'm low, okay. Yeah, the island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. Hellcat, made his homeboys and them types LA solo, okay. Everybody wanna be demon till they get chipped by your throwaway. And I might do a show a day. Once a lame, always a lame. Oh, you thought the money, the power of fame will make you go away.
So that specific line I wanted to draw attention to because it's one that I feel like people don't really talk about. When Kendrick Lamar says, oh, you thought the money and the power of the fame would make you go away, Kendrick Lamar is planting the seed that Drake is not who he pretends to be, and he's going to expand on that throughout this song and a few other songs. But he's basically saying, no matter how rich you get, no matter how globally recognized you are, at the end of the day, I know who you are, which is kind of ominous, low-key. Also, he says that Drake is all uptight because he got chipped by a throwaway, which is basically a funny way of saying the verse that Kendrick Lamar did on Like That wasn't even supposed to be that big of a deal, but Drake obviously took it very personally and dropped, that whole diss track, Push-Ups. And that kind of initiated this. I just want it to be remembered because people will forget that a lot of what's happening to Drake currently and what happened over the past couple of months, he asked for, okay? He was saying drop, 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 drop. And at the end of Tailor Made Freestyle, he's like, nah, man, you got to follow through. You got to follow through on this. We're not going to let this go away. So Kendrick's going to get into him.
Pause!
Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever walked your enemy down like with a poker face? Have you ever paid 500,000 like to an open case? Well, I have, and I felt that both, but I came out straight. I hate when a rapper talk about guns, then somebody die, they turn into nuns, then hop online like pray for my city. He faking for likes and digital hugs. His daddy a killer, he wanna be junior. They must have forgot the shit that they done. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I park your son. The very
First of all, a number of things. I hate when a rapper talk about guns and somebody died, they turn into nuns, they hop online like pray from a city, he faking for likes and digital hugs. First of all, flow, immaculate. Also, alluding more to the fact that Drake's a fraud. When he says his daddy a killer, he wanna be Junior. Now, I assume this was referring to Birdman, who signed Drake to Cash Money Records, which Young Money Records is under, and Lil Wayne is Junior, so I assume that, Drake is also Junior to him.
It's also possible that another father figure that's being referred to is Texas hip-hop legend Jay Prince. Apparently him and his family, they are the mob ties of which Drake speaks of. And Kendrick is basically saying that Drake wants to be looked at like he's really in a mob, like he's really with the gang, and he's responsible along with these people for some violence towards other people. And Kendrick is just like, buddy, you are not like that. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
Also, I really like the bar, let it get shaky, I park your son. Parkinson? Shaky. You get it. It's rap.
Son, the very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave.
Kendrick Lamar is very upset about the fact that Drake now is in possession of something that once belonged to Tupac. Tupac is obviously West Coast legend. Some say that he's arguably the best rapper ever, and obviously it's somebody that Kendrick has looked up to for a very long time. And he says that Drake is making him turn in his grave by owning something of his. And honestly, that's fair. It's really wild for Drake to come from Canada and as an actor, as a Canadian child actor, and then become a rapper and portray himself as a American rapper that loves all of these American places.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
And then, after he becomes a successful rapper, he's like, let me get something that belongs to one of the greatest American pioneers of rap and hip-hop. Because I see myself as Tupac, essentially, now. I can understand why this is upsetting for Kendrick Lamar. Also, another iconic set of bars coming up here.
Cut the business, you got shit twisted. What is it, the braids? I hurt your feelings, you don't work with me no more. Okay.
You want to talk about something being stuck in your head rent-free? These set of bars here are so funny to me, and there's so many other funny moments that happen in this song. But him yelling, what is it, the braids? Is so... I think about that all the time. He's talking about having things twisted. Obviously, being confused, being out of sorts, whatever. But short little story here. When I was 14 years old, I was a freshman in high school. And I had like a relatively significant afro, like not like huge, but enough to where I could do something with it. It could be transformed into something else. It could have become braids. It could have been the beginning of dreadlocks. Who knows? My life would be entirely different if I committed to one of those hairstyles at the age of 14. But the point is, my mom decided that I should try braids. It was around the time where that Karate Kid movie came out with Jaden Smith, and he was kind of a big deal, and I was like, I like him, I like that movie, you know what, I'll try braids. Things got twisted, we'll say, and the braids hurt. Like, they hurt a lot. Like, I went to school the next day, I was in a considerable amount of discomfort, and every time I think about that line from Kendrick, what is it, the braids? Drake also has braids right now, which is, fitting. It's just, I think back to that moment, that feeling of discomfort, and I feel like Kendrick is kind of tapping into that. It's like Drake is making all of these bad decisions, the main one being to enter a rap contest with Kendrick Lamar as your opponent. And I don't know, what is it, the braids? Also, him talking about how Drake doesn't want to work with him anymore, and him like using this little baby voice is so funny to me on so many levels because it's making Drake sound like a really like petulant child. You don't work with me no more, okay? It's so good. It's just really good, and I feel like that's something that Drake doesn't participate a lot in, the inflection, the delivery of his raps. Like, he doesn't really take the time to add a lot of emphasis to the tone of what he's saying. You know, one Drake song, like a Drake rap song this year, probably sounds like a Drake rap song from 5, 6, 7 years ago. But Kendrick, whatever point he's trying to make, he takes on a character, and I just love that about, you know, his rap performances.
There's 3 ghosts left, and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. I love them to death, and in 8 bars I'll explain that phrase. It's nothing nobody can tell me. I don't wanna talk on no celly. You know I got language barriers. It's no accent you can sell me. You're Cole and Ivory know I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly.
So at the beginning of this beef, Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole were being referred to as the Big
3.
Kendrick obviously wants nothing to do with that. He says there's 3 goats left, and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage, which is hilarious because
Why is it funny to kiss your homie?
Drake and J. Cole were on stage together. They went on tour together. This gave J. Cole and Drake the opportunity to make another song together.
2.
So that's a total of 2 songs together with Drake and J. Cole just on that album. And before they had this other song together, I think it was called In the Morning, I believe. It's a throwback. But yeah, Kendrick is saying, I'm not really with all that. Also, the reference to YNW Melly is really funny because YNW, well, like the actual incident that it's referring to isn't funny because YNW Melly allegedly was accused of killing 2 of his friends, and Kendrick's like, that's kind of the way that I feel about J. Cole and Drake. Like, I like you guys, but also, since you're trying to push me, like, I would, metaphorically speaking, I imagine, kill you. And Drake, for certain, he's
slaughtering him.
He's gotta kill him.
I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell. For him, I inherit the beef. Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. He's Terrence Thornton, I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet.
Friendly reminder that Drake notoriously lost a very public rap feud with Pusha T, and Kendrick is saying, you'd be better off trying to go at that guy again than trying to go at me. Ooh, accidental bars myself.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Kendrick is basically drawing everybody's attention to the fact that Drake is already kind of a loser. He came off a loss, and now he's back into a beef where he is actively losing again.
We ain't gotta get personal, this a friendly fade, you should keep it that way. I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint. This ain't been about critics, not about gimmicks, not about who the greatest. It's always been about love and hate. Now let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct. We hate the bitches you fuck, cause they confuse themselves with real women. Then notice I said we, it's not just me, I'm what the culture feeling.
I feel like this could easily get lost as well. Kendrick says, we ain't got to get personal. This is a friendly fade. You should keep it that way. He's like, this should just be like a nice exhibition to see who can beat the other with their rap talent. Let's not make things personal. But shortly after, he also says, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way you dress. I hate the way you sneak this. If I catch a flight, it's going to be direct. Then he says, I hate the women that you interact with.
He didn't say that.
Also, I'm what the culture is feeling. That was a premonition of things to come, because when we talk about who the people's champion is, who actually has more people on their side when it comes to this beef, Kendrick was not wrong. The culture embraced Kendrick's battle against Drake in ways that I never would have expected. This was also the first time where it became clear to me that Kendrick isn't just engaging in this like from a, oh, you think you're a better rapper than me? Well, I think I'm a better rapper than you. It occurred to me when he was talking about how he hates everything about him that maybe he just doesn't like Drake that much.
How many more fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. You gon' make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crashed something. Yeah, my first one like my last one. It's a classic, you don't have one. Let your core audience stomach that. Didn't tell them where you get your abs from. V12, it's a fast one. Boom, boom, boom. last one. Headshot for the year. You better walk around like Daft Punk.
Really devastating stuff from Kendrick Lamar here. How many more fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? As I mentioned earlier, Drake has constantly been putting on the facade that he is a lot tougher individual than he actually is. But he's the same guy that'll sit down, or lay down rather, in a bed with Bobby Altoff and drink mixed fruity drinks and just talk to her about absolute nonsense. How many more black features do you feel like you're black enough is something that has to really hurt Drake, because Drake has been open in talking about how people have not really accepted him as a black guy that raps, as a black rapper, as an African American. I mean, he is mixed, but he's been very open about the fact that he's insecure about this. Kendrick even openly says, I prefer Drake when he's singing. I like melodic Drake. I like when Drake isn't acting tough. And a lot of people share that sentiment. My favorite Drake songs aren't when he's talking about killing people or having access to weaponry or doing a bunch of drugs. I kind of like a more introspective Drake. I like Drake with the melodies. I like when he's talking about the women that he's dealt with, heartbreak, trying to get over a woman trying to get over him, the issues that he has in a relationship, some of the struggles that he has with fame, when he talks about his friends, the people that he started with, the people that might be trying to take advantage of him, how he might have taken advantage of people, and how he feels guilty about it. Like, I like Drake with the melodies, not when he's acting tough. I agree, Kendrick.
Remember? Hey, Top Dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Extortion my middle name as soon as you jump off of that plane, bitch. I'm allergic to the lame shit, only you like being famous. Yachty can't give you no swag neither. I don't give a fuck about who you hanging with. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. Surprised you wanted that feature request. You know that we got some shit to address. I even hate when you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess. Some shit just cringeworthy. Ain't even gotta be deep, I guess.
Yeah, so this is not something that anybody would have expected. Like, there are a lot of things to dislike about Drake, and a lot of them that I actually agree with that Kendrick Lamar brings up in this track and other ones. But I never thought that in the year of our Lord, 2024, one rapper would tell another rapper, I really don't appreciate you saying the N-word. I just don't like it. There isn't really any deeper meaning to this. He just doesn't appreciate it. And that must have been quite a blow to Drake for the next few days, waiting for his response. For a lot of people on the internet discussing, should Drake be saying the N-word when he raps? It's something that I never really thought to question before, but Kendrick Lamar is just like, hey, I just want you to just chew on this real quick.
Still love when you see success. Everything with me is blessed. Keep making me dance, waving my hand, and it won't be no threat. I'm knowing they call you the boy, but where's the man? Cause I ain't seen him yet. Matter of fact, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him? When I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. It's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I'll make sure I double back with you. You assigned to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga.
There are a couple of really funny things to think about when it comes to this set of bars. He says that keep making me dance, waving my hand, and won't be no threat. I'm just imagining Kendrick like dancing to a Drake song, but then as soon as Drake starts rapping, he like gets upset and he's like, I was told there would be melodies. Drake referring to himself as the boy when he's almost 40, I also think is something that maybe he should consider not doing anymore. Kendrick saying that when Drake stands by newly very popular and successful rapper Sexy Red, he says that Drake sees himself as a bad bitch himself. He says that Drake might be popping his ass with her, and that's that's quite the image.
Not good.
I also do think it's just funny that he says, let's talk about you being signed to a person that's signed to a person. I don't know how much that actually means. I mean, obviously Drake is making a ton of money. Doesn't really matter who it's split up amongst. But Drake trying to take shots at Kendrick Lamar for his label or his management or whoever taking money for him, when Drake is signed to a guy that takes a percentage from him, who is also signed to a guy that takes a percentage from the guy that's taking a percentage from Drake. It's just kind of a funny thing to point out.
Try cease and desist on I like that record. Oh, what, you ain't like that record? Back to back, I like that record. I'ma get back to that for the record. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all thinking my life is rap? That's whole shit. I got a son to raise, but I can see you don't know nothing about that. Waking them up, know nothing about that. Then tell them to pray, know nothing about that. Then giving them tools to walk through life like day by day, know nothing about that. Teaching them morals, integrity, discipline. Listen, man, you don't know nothing about that. Speaking the truth and consider what God's considering. You don't know nothing about that.
This is the part. Well, first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that this was my wife's favorite part of the song, where Kendrick continues to repeat, no, nothing about that. I thought it was pretty funny, too. No, about that. Again, Kendrick Lamar is going extra lengths to change his vocal inflections, his tone, just for the sake of like humor and just to switch things up, which I think is necessary when you're doing a 6-minute song that's about one person. I also think that Drake was probably particularly offended by this. Kendrick is not only saying, you know, you struggle with your own identity, you are basically a woman. I think that you like to hang out with women and dance with women as if you're one of them, which, you know, it's debatable whether that's actually problematic or not, but considering how Drake likes to portray himself sometimes as this very tough gangster-like guy, it kind of goes against that image. He's saying all types of things that could potentially be damaging to Drake's reputation, but this might actually hurt Drake's feelings personally. He's saying you don't know anything about fatherhood, what it takes to raise a child properly, and he's just hitting them from every angle, really.
Ain't 20v1, it's 1v20 if I gotta smack niggas that right with you. Yeah, bring them out too, I clean them out too. Tell Bean that he better stay right with you. Am I battling ghosts or AI? Nigga feeling like Joel Austin. Funny he was in a film called AI. And my sixth sense telling me to off him.
This is funny because Drake was telling Kendrick that it feels like a 20v1 because a lot of people were dissing Drake at the same time. Kendrick is saying it's more like a 1v20 because Drake has a bunch of people that are ghostwriting for him. He also says, am I battling Ghost or an AI? Which is, again, like really, which is really funny because Drake has ghostwriters, allegedly, but I'm kind of leaning more towards he does. When we talk about some later records that Drake puts out, you would either have to admit to having ghostwriters or admit that you yourself are the dum-dum with some of the with some of the things that Drake ends up saying. And the AI is obviously a reference to Drake using AI in a previous diss track, which the more removed we are from it, the more silly it is. In the moment, it was kind of jarring. It was a little bit odd, but I could kind of understand at least what he was trying to do. Now looking back on it, it's like, why are you using AI voice filters and like what turned out to be a very impactful moment in your career? You know, it's not really the time to mess around with stuff like that.
I'm a blick niggas all in their coughing. Yeah, OV-ho niggas is dick riders. Tell them run to America to imitate heritage. They can't imitate this violence. What I learned is niggas don't like the West Coast, and I'm fine with it. I'll push the line with it. Pick a nigga off one at a time with it. We can be on a 3-hour time difference. Don't speak on the family, Crody. It can get deep in the family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone go bleed in your family, Crody. I be at New Hall King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and a blammy, Crody. Tell me your cheesing, fam. We can do this right now on the camera, Crody.
This is the point where I knew that Kendrick was having actually too much fun. Kendrick's not the type of person that pops out all the time to make records. But when I saw how much effort was put into this to emulate a Canadian accent and start using their slang terms, it really shows just how much like time and energy and thought was put in to this track. Him talking about New Hall King eating fried rice with the dip sauce and a blammy, cruddy. I laughed out loud when I heard that. Tell me you're cheesing, fam. Like, tell me you're cheesing, fam? Like, dude is having way too much fun at another man's expense. And you would think at this point, Drake would be like, all right, this guy is mocking me. He's mocking everybody that is Canadian that came to America to have a better life for themselves. He's mocking the language. He's mocking my fatherhood. He's mocking my blackness. He's telling me not to use the N-word. He's saying all types of things about me and my friends, my good pal, Sexy Red.
Not my good pal, Sexy Red.
And it's just gotten to the point where I remember hearing this and thinking, like, I don't know how Drake recovers from this. I don't know how he comes back from this. This is too much. It's too much, man. And we're still not finished.
Hey, fuck y'all niggas. I don't trust y'all niggas. I wave one finger and thump y'all niggas like, field goal punt y'all niggas. They punk y'all niggas. Nobody never took my food. Whoever that's fucking with them, fuck you niggas. And fuck the industry too. If you take it there, I'm taking it further. Psst, that's something you don't want to do.
That's the first time I thought to myself, like, why am I being attacked? Because he says, whoever's effing with him, F you. And I'm like, what did I do? I was enjoying your song, Kendrick. I just because I've liked Drake for the majority of my life, he's been one of my favorite artists. I just because I listen to the music, is it why you say fuck me for? Also, I love the way that he ends that verse right there where he says, psst, that's something you don't want to do. Because that's also the way that Not Like Us starts. Because he says, psst, I see dead people, where he's talking about, you know what, this isn't about Not Like Us, but I just like how that's at the end of the song and it's at the beginning of the other song. You know what I mean.
Ooh, we don't wanna hear you say nigga no more. We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more.
Stop. Did you hear that part where he was like, ooh? It almost sounded like he was emulating a ghost, which, you know, kind of points to the Ghost Rider thing. And it also, whatever. This is almost 30 minutes of me just explaining why Drake got destroyed over that 6-minute song. And there are a lot of things that carry over from that song until the next couple of tracks. I think I'm going to continue to talk about a couple of them. Now that it's kind of died down and I feel like people aren't talking about the other tracks as much, I feel like it's the appropriate time. But yeah, this was a lot. I think at this point, it was very clear that Kendrick was ahead and it was going to take a lot for Drake to come back and be crowned victorious amongst the community, amongst the culture. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown.
This was a lot. It took a lot to get the snippets right for this song and get all the meanings and the deeper layers to it, but I enjoyed it, and I hope you all do too. Love you, mean it, enjoy the outro.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, we don't have time for this. Kendrick actually went back-to-back. Look.
Where?
616 in LA doesn't have the quotable lines that Euphoria does. No one's screaming bum like in the Like That song. No one's being called a pipsqueak or told to shut up like in Push-Ups. There's no OV ho chants. There's no self-sabotaging like in The Heart Part 6.
This Epstein angle was the shit I expected.
And there's no telling someone's mother that their son should cease to exist like in Meet the Grams. It's not like 616 in LA is bad. It's just not like fun to me. Not like a super fun listen. It's like the Section 80 or Mr. Morale of disses. Just because it's the least interesting to me doesn't necessarily mean it's insignificant, you know? Okay, now people were at my neck over this, okay? I am not saying the Section 80 and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers are not interesting albums. I'm just saying that there are like 4 or 5 albums and there has to be a most interesting and a least interesting to me. I don't listen to Section 80, like ever. And I barely go back and listen to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So, you know, Good Kid, Mad City is a classic. To Pimp a Butterfly is my favorite rap album ever. Damn won the man a Pulitzer Prize, okay? So if I say that one of these 2 albums is the least interesting,
Get it off me!
and if you disagree, tell me Kendrick Lamar's most least interesting album to you. Pick one. It's hard, okay?
Just cut me some slack.
And while preparing for the show, I found that the song is actually really, really slept on. And that's because it's so deep. And I know that can sound cringe, like, you know, I just thought of this. You know how like a Rick and Morty fan is trying to explain to you why the show is like this deep exploration of philosophical theories? Like, dude, it's like such an unbelievable portrayal of existentialism and nihilism. Dude, it's so complex. And you're like, bro, there's a character named Mr. Poopy Butthole. It's not that deep. But that's not the case for 616 in LA. Unlike an episode of Rick and Morty, when people are telling you that there's more than meets the eye, they're actually right. And that's the topic of today's show.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Derapy. Kendrick is once again dissing Drake with this track before the track even begins. Drake has a series of songs that includes a time and a place, so Kendrick is naturally going to mock that by naming his track after a time and a place. Also, in Drake's tailor-made freestyle, he makes it clear that for whatever reason, Kendrick is actually following the instructions of Taylor Swift. The reason why he's not responding in a timely fashion, according to Drake, is because Taylor Swift is rolling out an album, and Kendrick is, for whatever reason, not allowed to interrupt that, but Drake is, because he can do whatever he wants. Ironically, Kendrick chooses to have the person producing the track actually be a main collaborator of Taylor Swift's. This is one of the main reasons why the beat sounds so peculiar. Jack Antonoff is a pop producer, and he actually helped Taylor Swift with her most recent album. And if you actually still think this is a coincidence, it's literally the first time Kendrick has ever worked with this guy. And this is how you are supposed to lean into disses. Drake makes the tailor-made freestyle and tries to get at Kendrick for collaborating with Taylor Swift or not dropping because of Taylor Swift. So Kendrick takes a guy that produces Taylor Swift's music and basically has him produce Kendrick Lamar's song. So the very next song is actually low-key tailor-made. It's subtle, it's smart, it's a good response. Drake's idea of leaning into a diss is Kendrick Lamar absolutely ruining his life with the A minor bar, And then Drake trying to flip that to say that Kendrick needs to be sharp and he didn't leave D flat. D is major. Kendrick's idea of flipping something against Drake is taking a series of Drake's songs that he makes and then adding his own to the collection with 616 and LA. Drake's idea is to add one of his songs to Kendrick's collection with The Heart Part 6, and it actually ending up being the worst diss track in the history of my life. Anyways, let's just start this song.
Yeah. It's survival. I think somebody lying. Smell somebody lying. I don't see no fire.
So at the end of the tailor-made freestyle by Drake, he's trying to tell Kendrick that he is expecting some double, triple, quintuple entendres or whatever. So Kendrick is going to give the man what he asked for, unfortunately. So one of the first things that Kendrick says in this song is, it's survival, survival. I think somebody lying. I smell somebody lying. I don't see no fire. Now, unfortunately, as a Drake fan, I actually recognize him bringing up Survival without even having to look it up. Survival was the first track off of Drake's album Scorpion.
I was about to, man, I thought about it. It's unsettling to talk about it.
I really think that this being the first track off of Drake's album, right after Pusha T annihilated him in their beef, I really think that Drake was trying to allude to the fact that he was about to do something really regrettable. He was about to do something that could really, really hurt Pusha T or somebody around him, but he chose not to because he's such a good, merciful human. Now, my theory is this is just Drake being like, why I oughta? But he didn't actually have anything else, and that was just him pretending to actually have something. And I think Kendrick is specifically alluding to this bit of survival. Like, I don't think that's that crazy of a reach, because right after he says it's survival, survival, I think somebody lying, smell somebody lying, I don't see no fire. I think it's safe to say that him saying I don't see no fire is alluding to, you know, the liar, liar, pants on fire, whatever. This is a lot, and the song hasn't even really started yet.
Off-white Sunseeker had the marina. Fuck a phantom, I like to buy yachts when I get the fever. Wine cooler, spill on my white t-shirt, the sightseer. Trifecta, money, morals, and culture. That's my leisure, my visa. Passport tatted, that's your hub in Ibiza. Luke Callie's dwellings in Brooklyn just to book me some pizza. Who can reach us? Only God can teleport this type of freedom.
Now, this is Derapy. And just like in therapy, I try not to lie. There's no point in having a podcast like this with a name like this and me sitting here and trying to tell you that I knew what this stuff meant before looking it up. Off-white Sunseeker at the marina, fuck a phantom, I like to buy yachts when I get the fever. Okay. So this is what I have found, right? Off-white is obviously a term for shades that are slightly different from pure white. And that's kind of like a diss at Drake, because he's not calling Drake white. He's just saying that he's kind of white. He's off white. And now that I'm looking into this, it's actually becoming a little bit more obvious to me. Like, it should have been obvious to me to begin with. But what can I say? I'm a Drake fan. I usually don't have to look this deep into the lyrics. A sunseeker is somebody that is looking to actually become more tan, more dark, like Drake. One more possible interpretation of this is a sunseeker could be something like Icarus. I'm not going to go into the tale of Icarus. If you know, you know. This is not like English lit, okay? But Icarus is the story about a guy that has the wings and he flew too close to the sun and he died, right? He's basically saying that Drake's flying too close to the sun and that's why he's getting burned by Kendrick. And yet another potential interpretation of this line is that a sunseeker is somebody that is seeking fame, looking for their moment in the sun. And I have learned, I've been reliably informed, that Kendrick may actually be rapping from the perspective of Drake. I don't think that's a reach, actually. That makes a lot of sense. Most people, when they talk about the three things that people desire, they talk about money, power, and respect. And Kendrick actually proposes three new things, like money, morals, and culture, the things that he wants to focus on when it comes to this dispute with Drake. I actually think that it makes sense that as you mature more, your values may change. And if you are a family man, you might value things like morals and culture as opposed to Drake, who is still more looking for like power and respect. Kendrick already has those things, so he's on to better things that would be more suitable for somebody of his age and stature and family status. Now, I think my Visa passport tatted, I show up in Ibiza, is just him responding to Drake saying that he's big in Japan. Like, I think Kendrick is kind of an international superstar as well. I'm pretty sure he could sell out stadiums in different countries. But it's also possible that this line is him rapping from the perspective of Drake, because Drake, in a song called Pipe Down, says, I tatted your passport up. Now it's looking like an arm sleeve. Drake is all about getting a passport tatted up, bragging about all the places that he's gone to. But Ibiza is also a place that Cole mentions. But it gets even deeper because J. Cole released a song on Might Delete Later called Trade the Truth in Ibiza. The truth is in Ibiza. Drake is in Ibiza. Interesting. And J. Cole in the future would actually release a version of Drake's Pipe Down, like it used Drake's Pipe Down instrumental. And I just see the connections here. I completely understand why people are saying that it could be from the perspective of Drake, because bringing women out to yachts for nefarious activities is definitely something that Drake may have been rumored to do. Allegedly. Drake also says in another one of his stupid end of song monologues, in Taylor Made Freestyle, he says, Dot, I know you're in that New York apartment. You struggling right now. I know you're in the notepad doing lyrical gymnastics, my boy. He 1000% was doing lyrical gymnastics in the notepad, and you would learn that in due time. Kendrick actually responds to this directly by simply saying, yeah, I was just in Brooklyn trying to get some pizza, dude. Also, Kendrick says, who could reach us? Only God could teleport this type of freedom. And I don't know why, but my mind just goes to the scene from Better Call Saul, where Saul Goodman is screaming at Howard Hamlin about how he travels in worlds that he can't imagine. You know what? Better Call Saul is a great show, and you are going to listen to this clip, all right? This is how Kendrick's talking to Drake right now.
You can't conceive of what I'm capable of. I'm so far beyond you. I'm like a god in human clothing. Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips.
This next part of the song is unintentionally the funniest to me.
God, my confession is yours, but who am I if I don't go to war?
Okay, hold on. Just give me 1 second.
There is no reason for this.
God, who am I if I don't go to war?
You are wasting these people's time.
There's opportunity when living with loss. I discover myself would not fall short. Raise my hands to a falling sky. I fantasize me jumping planets, immortalized. I correspond. 3 angels watching me all the time. Put my children to sleep with a prayer, then close my eyes. Definition of peace. Tell me who gon' stop me. I come from love, and still cover my heart, then open me up. Remember when picked up a pen, lyrics that I can trust. Timid soul, staring in the mirror, asking where I was from often.
All right, so what I gathered from this passage is that Kendrick is like initially conflicted about going, quote unquote, to war with Drake, because historically speaking, like sometimes hip hop feuds turn to like a really bad and violent place, and I don't think anybody's really trying to do all that. From what I hear from Kendrick, he seems like a generally spiritual man, and as somebody that believes in the big guy upstairs, I can respect that. It seems like something he takes more seriously than Drake, but who am I? I don't really know these people. It's just my observation. In the song Father Time on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick openly says, when Kanye got back with Drake, I was slightly confused. Guess I'm not mature as I think, got some healing to do. So even right here, it's actually kind of hinted at that he currently has a problem with Drake and he is shocked that Kanye is making amends with him. But also maybe Kendrick isn't as online as the average person is, because there are many things that are going on in Kanye's head that nobody can truly make sense of. That is a conversation for another day. I think when Kendrick says there's opportunity when living with loss, I discover myself when I fall short, is him actually acknowledging that there's not a 0% chance that he loses to Drake in the beef. I'm pretty sure at this point when he is like in the lab cooking up
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
tracks. I mean, I think he's under the impression that it's actually going to be a little bit harder than it ended up being. And he's saying that even if he ends up losing, he'll discover things about himself, which is like such an interesting way to view this battle with Drake. It was also pointed out to me that when Kendrick is talking about living with loss, he's actually referring to the peace in his life, which makes sense because he refers to peace specifically throughout this song. So he's talking about going to war. Obviously, war is the antithesis of peace. So if he goes to war, he might be losing that. He might be living with that loss. This song is deep as fuck. I like how Kendrick is much more concerned with the idea and concept of just a peaceful life as opposed to Drake, who seems like very willing to like burn everything to the ground without really a second thought. Kendrick seems like very introspective about the idea that engaging in this battle with Drake could like disturb his peace. I mean, it ultimately did not stop him from obliterating Drake in the end, but I don't think Kendrick could have known how, I don't want to say easy it would have turned out, but like the lack of resistance that Drake showed, because I know that we're kind of skipping ahead here and we're talking about things that happen in the future with benefit of hindsight, but I think Kendrick really had a lot more that he could have dropped. And I hate to keep bringing this up, but like I'm actually still upset about it. The Heart Part 6 was so bad that Kendrick was just like, I think we're good. I think we're actually done.
I know this type of power has gone cost, but I live in circadian rhythms of a shooting star. The mannerisms of Raphael, I can heal and give you art, but the industry's cooked as I pick the carcass apart. Yeah, somebody's lying, I can see the vibes on act. Even he looking compromised, let's peel the layers back. Ain't no brownie points will be in your chest, harassing ant. Fucking with good people, make good people go to back.
I have a Bachelor of Science in multimedia journalism, and half the shit that Kendrick is talking about, I am like, dog, where did you hear this stuff? Who taught you these things? Why do you know so much? What are these references? But he's talking about the mannerisms of Raphael, circadian rhythms, like... You what? Now, Kendrick's talking about how the industry's cooked and he can pick the carcass apart. Drake is talking about what Kendrick can and can't do because the industry... Kendrick actually said in Euphoria, whoever's fucking with him, fuck them and fuck the industry too. I don't think he's really concerned with all that. All the stuff that's been going down with the entertainment industry between the Cat Williams podcast, the Drake Bell Nickelodeon documentary drop, hell, what happened with Cody Ko and Dr. Disrespect in the past month, everything entertainment-wise is getting absolutely annihilated. I don't think Kendrick's worried about protecting anybody anymore. Everybody's cooked. It's up. DJ Academics has been folding like a lawn chair on the 4th of July. Like, that brother is done. That man went from screaming what top 5 you smoking on Kendrick to turning on Drake like everybody else. And I love some of Drake's music, but you would never catch me on camera like,
What top 5 you smoking on, Kendrick? Cause my top 5 is Drake.
Can you shut the fuck up?
Kendrick also says that Drake is harassing Ant, who works with Kendrick Lamar, and Drake apparently uploaded 2 photos of Ant to his Instagram story, one with OVO bags in his hand and the other like just a close-up selfie of him, which is just such a weird thing to do. Could you imagine Kendrick posting like just a really, really up-close selfie of like, I don't know, OVO 40 or something? Like, it's just a weird move, but that's just kind of where Drake is at.
Conspiracies about Cash Dog, that's not even the leak. Find the Jews like Cash Dog, I just need you to think. Are you finally ready to play? Have you ever, let's see, have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies, you must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. Can't Tussie slide up out of this one, it's just go resurface. Every dog gotta have his day, now living your purpose. It was fun until you start to put money in the streets, then lost money cause they came back with no receipts. I'm sorry that I live a boring life, I love peace, but war ready if the world is ready to see you bleed.
Now, if I'm Drake, this is the most concerning part of this song by far. Fucking with good people, make good people go to bat is basically Kendrick saying like, I really wasn't gonna make this as deep as it had to be, but then you decided to get people involved that really have nothing to do with this. As far as the Cash and the Cash Doll stuff, so I'm gonna have to look into this because Genius says it like very bluntly as if it's common knowledge, and I don't follow these people that closely. I have like a life and a wife and a job, so we're gonna look into this for just a second. Follow me down the rabbit hole. Genius says that Kendrick name drops Cash Doll, referencing a burglary where the rapper had $500,000 worth of jewelry stolen. Can I just say this, since we're all here?
Your show, bud.
There's no good reason to have $500,000 worth of jewelry. What are you doing? Be an adult. Put that $500K on a parlay or something. What? This is a joke. Do not be like Drake. Gamble responsibly. But this annotation also says that she and her ex broke up because of Drake, which gives Jewel a double meaning. Cash Doll is a jewel of a person who Drake tried to find/date, which is cool. But like, I just want to know how Drake broke up this relationship because, first of all, what a Drake thing to do, but also I want to see where the proof of this is. All right, so I just got done watching this video of Cash Doll talking about how her and Drake were simply just in a picture together, and her boyfriend got like upset about it and then broke up with her for it, which is just pathetic, dude. This doesn't really have anything to do with Drake or Kendrick. I just kind of wanted to see like what the reference was, and honestly, what a waste of time. The things I do for you people. Now here's something that actually matters. Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me?
No.
That is concerning. With a song like Euphoria already out at this point, like it's pretty clear that Kendrick is taking things very seriously and he is like ready for war. But with the additional knowledge that Kendrick might have somebody in Drake's camp that's giving him information, like that is scary. And in the future, it would prove that this is likely. This isn't just because Kendrick Lamar knew to drop Meet the Grams within an hour of Drake dropping Family Matters, but also the fact that he is apparently only mentioning this quote-unquote fake daughter because Drake leaked him the information means that he did at least at some point believe that he had somebody in Drake's crew that was giving him information. Now, one could argue that things about Party Next Door doing drugs or Chubbs getting Drake's hand-me-downs or people in his circle not liking him could be public knowledge. I have a hard time believing that because as a Drake fan, you know, a fan of the music, let me just clarify again, I don't know all these intimate details about Drake's inner circle. Inner circle. I like to believe that like most adults don't because I just don't think anybody should really care that much about people's personal lives, like celebrities, I mean. Anyways, fake bully, I hate bullies, you must be a terrible person. I don't know about you guys, but when I listen to the cringe monologues of Drake at the end of Taylor Made Freestyle and The Heart Part 6, it comes off as somebody that is trying to be intimidating and condescending. It falls flat because it's Aubrey Drake Graham, but he's definitely trying to be mean and rude and cruel and look down upon Kendrick, not just like physically, you know what I mean. When Kendrick says that people in his team are telling him that Drake deserves what's happening to him right now, that doesn't really strike me as something that I would just assume is untrue. The Weeknd and Future and Metro Boomin and Rick Ross and Kanye were people I thought were cool with Drake. Future and Rick Ross especially for like a considerable amount of time. It wouldn't be surprising if they had info on Drake or knew people within Drake's circle that didn't approve of everything Drake does and were open to telling Kanye about it. The Weeknd even said in falsetto, by the way, hold on. I got something for y'all.
Please don't do this. I am begging you. We cannot keep this in.
They got leaks in their operation. It's just as easy to unsubscribe as it is to subscribe.
It was fun until you started to put money in the streets, then lost money because they came back with no receipts. That I 1000% think is true. I do not think Drake was just sitting on a bunch of Kendrick Lamar dirt that he couldn't wait to put into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-minute songs. I just don't think that's the case. Pusha T said the exact same thing happened when he was in a beef with Drake. He knew people that had been offered money to give information on it, which is hilarious, by the way. Like, it really shouldn't be that hard to find out all the bad things that Pusha T has done. He raps about most of it. I usually don't listen to Pusha T. Okay, that's not true. I never listen to Pusha T unless he's actively dropping an album. His raps are pretty good. It's fine. He kind of reminds me of Kid Cudi, not because like they are similar artists at all. That's not what I'm saying. But Kid Cudi is the type of artist where like I know that the music is good. It's just not my kind of music, so I don't listen to it, but I'm not going to act like it's not good. Pusha T makes good music. I'm just not trying to hear it. But I say all of that to say that Pusha T is constantly rapping about all the terrible things that he's done, whether it be like selling drugs, people he's taken advantage of, dangerous situations he's been, dangerous situations he's put other people in. Like, he raps a lot about all the heinous things that he's done. And he doesn't seem like the type of person to just fabricate Drake trying to pay people to get information on him, and Kendrick Lamar saying something similar also doesn't strike me as completely unfathomable. But it also doesn't surprise me that Drake couldn't really come up with anything because we haven't heard from Kendrick in like 5 years until he dropped Missed Him Around the Big Steppers. So like, what did you expect to find? Dude's just been hanging out with his girl and his kids.
The Elohim KTW, know you can't sleep, these images trouble you. Know the wires in your circle should puzzle you. If you were street smart, then you would have caught that your entourage is only to hustle you. 100 niggas that you got on salary, and 20 of them want you as a casualty, and one of them is actually next to you, and 2 of them is practically tired of your lifestyle, just don't got the audacity to tell you. But let me tell you some game, cause I can see you, my little homie. You playing dirty with propaganda, hit blow up on you. You're playing nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots, but your reality can't hide behind Wi-Fi. Your little means is losing steam, they figured you out. The first opinions is not convincing, y'all need a new route. It's time that you look around on who's around you before you figure that you're not alone. Ask what Mike would do.
I don't know about you guys, but it sounds like in the background of this instrumental, it sounds like I hear Boy Wonder, who is somebody that Drake mentioned who's making beats for him so he could kill Kendrick for fun. I don't know if Drake actually has 100 people on his salary, but I am telling you right now, statistically speaking, of everybody that's ever going to hear the sound of my voice right now, at least one of you is going to end up a very successful person, have access to lots of money. And I'm telling you right now, there is no reason that you should ever have 100 people on your salary. I know it's probably not true. It's just a funny thing to think about. Trying to keep up with 100 different people working for you, it's like, unless you're like Mr. Beast or like a CEO of a company or something, but you should have like managers and stuff to like delegate that stuff. Anyways, I don't know. It's just a funny image. I'm just imagining like 100 different people in Drake's personal contact list that he's responsible for paying.
Gross mismanagement.
Somebody's got to be blowing some of your money that you can't keep up with. There's no way you can like account for all of these things. The absolute funniest bit from the end of this song is when he says 20 of them want you as a casualty and one of them is actually next to you. Like, I'm just imagining Drake listening to this song with somebody literally right next to him, and he hears it and he looks to his left and dude just just has his head down. I'd be like, bro, is it you? RDC, I'm pretty sure, did a skit like that. You guys should watch their recap of the beef. It's really funny. Kendrick bringing up Twitter bots might seem random. When I first heard it, I thought it was random too. And then I remembered, during the Drake and Pusha T beef, I remember Pusha T's name was trending because a bunch of like literal bots kept posting like absolutely ridiculous things that he definitely didn't do, but it was just to keep his name trending when Drake dropped. Here's some examples of that. These are some screenshots from the Genius website that shows some examples. Pusha T steals Honda Civic airbags, hashtag BB25, hashtag scared of the six. Pusha T was just caught doing whippets inside of a 02 Honda Civic with fake M3 badges. Pusha T found in a room with 2 3-year-olds with like a mind-blowing emoji. And like all of these are from completely fake accounts. They don't have like any AVI, no avatars, no nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Drake would do something similar when he's going against Kendrick. I also like how he says you're playing nerdy, which is just a funny way of calling somebody a dork. Your reality can't hide behind your Wi-Fi. Your little memes is losing steam. I'm not going to lie. Early on in the Drake beef, obviously I'm pulling for Drake. And every time he posts a meme on Instagram or like a funny little Buried Alive's parody or some random pictures that are just supposed to allude to like Kendrick Lamar being lame, all I could think was,
lock in, Aubrey, lock in.
You were supposed to respond with raps and a rap beef. All this messing around, the memes, the IG captions, the laughing emojis, telling people to help you find the fake daughter. Like, it's not doing anything for anybody. It's not doing anything to Kendrick. It's not doing anything for you. It's not helping you, your fans at the time who are rooting for you desperately. It does not inspire confidence. It didn't then, and it never did actually. I put this off because it wasn't on streaming platforms, but I also just frankly didn't understand a lot of the references. But now that I've talked about it in depth, there's clearly a lot here that just showed how tapped in Kendrick was, how seriously he took this challenge. And that was one of Drake's greatest downfalls, in my opinion. As soon as I heard Euphoria, I knew that this is going to be a defining moment in both of these artists' careers. I begged that Drake would just simply take it seriously. Don't get distracted. Don't spend half of your songs dissing other people or bringing up things that nobody knows or cares about. But instead, Drake was screwing around. He's asking Kendrick for quintuple entendres. He's putting money out into the streets asking for help, trying to crowdsource diss material. Kendrick just had to go online and look at what needed to be made more public. Drake decided to say Whitney's name in push-ups, and it was pretty much raps after that. He honestly should have known better. This already happened with the Pusha T beef, but you know.
When will he learn?
Kendrick said your reality can't hide behind Wi-Fi, and he's right. Because now, everywhere Drake goes, I know that he's hearing. If you've made it this far, that means you probably liked this, so, you know, like it. But more importantly, leave a comment. Tell me what I missed. Rate my falsetto on a scale of 1 to 10. Tell me what made you laugh. And also the jokes that my editor should be punished for leaving in. I'd like to remind you all that despite gaining thousands of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views, as my wife keeps telling me, I actually am not making any money off of this. I'm just doing it for the love of the game. And regardless of how many subs or views there are, I'm going to continue to do this. I am extremely grateful for the fact that people are actually listening to a YouTube video that has like no visuals. That still blows my mind. That's why so much time is put into the editing of the show. But I also love podcasts because you can enjoy this while you're driving. You can do it while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're going for a walk, while you're working out. It doesn't require your full attention, and I appreciate that. So thank you, truly. And if you've made it this far, love you, mean it. Enjoy the outro.
Wu-Tang Clan, how my angels get up. Life on life, tell me how you're set up. Nigga ask me how I'm doing this year. I'm better. Crisis, prices, don't tell us. T4, blood, check levels. Nigga ask me how I'm doing this year. I'm better. Wu-Tang Clan, how my angels get up. Life on life, tell me how you're set up. Nigga ask me how I'm doing this year. I'm better. Crisis, prices, don't tell us. T4, blood, check levels. Nigga ask me how I'm doing this year.
So, just to recap, Drake initiated with push-ups, went back-to-back with Taylor Made Freestyle. Kendrick responded by going back-to-back with Euphoria and 616 in LA. Now what's next is Family Matters. And just to be clear, the podcast I recorded for this song was about how the track aged poorly as a Kendrick diss. I'm saying this because much of the criticism and feedback I received about this was like not giving Drake enough credit for the things that he was rapping about that had nothing to do with Kendrick at all. Like, this battle is between these two. I don't care about the wing-eating 50-year-old, Rihanna's man, the short guy who's bad at acting, but great at falsetto. Like, this song was supposed to be the Kendrick response. Like, Kendrick is wailing on the guy right now. And him being distracted, talk about other stuff, to me, in hindsight, was a miss. Like, it's okay if you think the song is good. I think the song is a good listen if you just don't think about it as a Drake diss. Because as a Drake diss, it's just not... Whatever. You're going to hear me talk about it. Here's 30 minutes of me talking about it. The last thing we heard Kendrick Lamar say on Euphoria was that he doesn't want to hear Drake use the N-word anymore. So, can you guess how Drake starts his next diss track?
Nigga, I said it, I know that you mad. I've emptied the clip over friendlier jabs. You mentioned my seed and I deal with his dad. I gotta go bad.
Derapy. Today we're going to be talking about Family Matters, a song that was supposed to be the big reply to the big Euphoria track by Kendrick. The problem, however, is that Drake is distracted. He's taking shots at a bunch of other people who aren't Kendrick, and the shots that aren't Kendrick age like Joe Biden in the past half decade. Horribly. Just terrible. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, drop a 50 bag for the mob in a spot. Drop a 50 bag, 29 for the thought. I was really trying to keep it PG. I was really trying to keep it PG. If you had a set, they give your ass a DP. But you civilian gang in real life, you PC. You know who really bang except my nigga YG. You know who really bang except my nigga Chuck T. You know who even bang except out there is CB. And nigga Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me.
Do you ever get the sense that your time is being wasted? Because I remember listening to this song for the first time and thinking to myself for the first minute, what is he talking about? You know who really bangs a set? YG. You know who really bangs a set? Chuck D. You know who really bangs a set? CB. You know who's losing sleep on this? J. Cole. It's not me. All right, that's cool. I mean, the J. Cole bit is funny because J. Cole continues to catch strays even though he's literally not doing anything. He's actually actively not doing anything. Like, he announced that he doesn't want any problems with anyone, and he's still getting mentioned. I don't like how he brings up Chris Brown as an example of somebody that is banging a set that is gang affiliated. You know who people don't fear?
Is it Chris Brown? It's Chris Brown.
Breezy Brown.
Yeah, it's Chris Brown.
The guy that dances.
Update. Just did an episode about Chris Brown and his diss track on Quavo. This guy might, in fact, be a problem. But he was also seen dancing to Not Like Us. So I don't think that he's really your guy. But, you know, hindsight.
The dancing guy. Chris Brown.
You better have some paperwork or that shit fake T. Can't be rapping about no ratting that we can't read. I mean, it's true, a nigga slimy for my AP. Just like how Metro nigga slime for his main squeeze. Out here begging for attention, nigga, say please. Always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. You just acting like an activist, it's make believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees.
So Drake says Kendrick is rapping like he wants the slaves freed, which is actually kind of tough, but like not in the way that Drake wants it to sound. Like like Drake doesn't sound tough. Like it's not a cool bar to be like Kendrick's rapping like he wants the slaves freed. It kind of makes it sound like Kendrick's going really hard in his raps. I don't know if you guys have ever heard rapping like your rent is due. How about rapping like you want the slaves freed? That's crazy. But also, what's exactly wrong with wanting the slaves freed or rapping like it? Also, Kendrick never used the word slaves. Drake did. So what slaves are Drake referring to? Well, is it supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be a diss? How? Why? I would like answers to these questions. Also, him talking about Metro and his girl and who was having sex with her. I don't really care about who's having sex with Metro's girlfriend. The producer. Drake is far too invested in other people's personal affairs, and I just think it's kind of weird. It's not even really much of a diss. It's more of like, why do you even have this information? Like, why?
Why?
Oh, also, Drake says Kendrick doesn't do anything for Compton. He doesn't go back to his hood and plant any money trees. If that's true, that's not you know what? That's actually a good diss, you know? For somebody that claims to be the activist that Kendrick kind of conveys himself, portrays himself as, rather. If he really doesn't ever go back to Compton or do anything for them, it's a pretty good diss by Drake. We'll see if there's anything more, though.
Yeah, this is actually not true either. Kendrick Lamar has given tons back to the city of Compton. He has spoken at community college there. He has donated money directly to foundations and communities there. So this is not a good diss. So this aged even worse than I thought it did.
Say you hate the girls I fuck, but what you really mean? I've been with black and white and everything that's in between. You the black messiah wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem.
I think this is Drake flexing the fact that he has sex with a lot of different looking women, which is weird. This is one of the first instances where Drake is getting defensive about something that kind of makes him sound really odd. Kendrick says, "We hate the bitches you fuck." And it's like, you don't even really have to acknowledge that. But it must have really bothered Drake for him to feel like he needed to address that specific line in this next song. I've been with black and white and everything that's in between. It's like, okay, well, you are Drake. We kind of just assume that you have sex with a lot of women, and probably not all of them look the same. But then he says, "You the black messiah wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem." Kendrick is in a relationship with somebody that's mixed, and I don't necessarily see why that's like a bad thing. Like, I don't really know what the problem with that is. Like, is he saying that Kendrick like really has a great deal of love for black people, so he should only be with black people? Because why? Drake also says that Kendrick hits vanilla cream to help out with his self-esteem, which sounds like cool, I guess, like as a rap. Vanilla cream, help out with your self-esteem. Okay, cool. But Kendrick said on his newest album that like he's had sex with white women and he felt weird about it. And then like you could ask Whitney about his lust addiction, etc., etc. So how exactly is it a diss to just say something that someone already said on their own album? Can somebody explain to me why that's a problem? Because I must be missing something. This isn't going to be the first time that Drake pulls something from Kendrick Lamar's most recent album and just tries to use it to diss Kendrick, and it just falls terribly flat. This is not the worst example of that.
On some Bobby shit, I wanna know what Whitney need. All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could've left the kids out of this, don't blame me. You a dog and you know it, you just play sweet. Your baby mama captions always screaming, save me. You did it dirty all your life, you tryna make peace. I heard that one of them little kids might be day free.
So this is one of the most embarrassing parts of this song for a number of reasons. First, he says, on some Bobby shit, I want to know what Whitney need. Get it? Because Bobby and Whitney were together, and Whitney is Kendrick's girl's name. Okay, all right, that's cool. All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. Drake, nobody particularly at this point in time wants to hear you talking about puppy love or what people are doing in their late teens. Obviously, puppy love or whatever that means to you is not going to like manifest itself in the same way that it does when you're like a fully grown adult. Kendrick's in his mid-30s. Why would he be participating in what's called puppy love? I don't know. It's odd. I think he was trying to draw it back to where like I think later on he says that Kendrick is a dog. So maybe puppy love. I don't know, man. He says, "Why do you never hold your son and tell him say cheese?"
Why do you want to see Kendrick's son?
I don't know, Drake. Why? Then he says, you a dog and you know it. You play sweet. Your baby mama captions always scream and save me. I find it odd that Drake is very much invested in Whitney's Instagram captions. I've never looked at Kendrick's girlfriend's Instagram because why would I? It's kind of weird. I mean, I guess if you're digging up stuff for a rap beef, that's fine. But to try and say that means something more than like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just seems kind of childish. Then he says, you did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace. I heard that one of them little kids might be day free. And he's like laughing about this. He's holding out the note. He thinks this is the biggest moment so far in the beef. Drake is exposing the fact that this guy that's very close with Kendrick, who goes by Dave Free,
who I've never heard of, by the way,
he had sex with Kendrick Lamar's woman, and she had a child. And Kendrick is just still with her, just raising the child.
Which would be really nice, by the way.
So here's the thing. Spoiler alert. Later on, after this song was released, a music video for Not Like Us, another Kendrick Lamar diss track, was released. It was directed by Dave Free, and Whitney is in the music video with the children, with Kendrick. And they're having a blast. Now, I could hear somebody saying,
maybe Whitney cheated on Kendrick and had a child with somebody else, and they're all just cool with that.
I think that's stupid. I think Drake saying what he said in this song is stupid. I think he's wrong. And I think there are only two really, really big Kendrick disses in this diss track. Like, as far as like things that could do reputational or personal damage to Kendrick Lamar. This is one of those things, and it's completely off. Like, there's just kind of no way that it's true. If you look at Kendrick Lamar and his children in that music video, the kids look exactly like Kendrick Lamar, if you really need proof or whatever. And the way Whitney is dancing around and having an absolute blast with Kendrick, it's just kind of hard to believe that they had like infidelity issues on this level that Drake is talking about that would still result in a music video where they're all having a great time dissing Drake. Like, it's just bad. This just does not hit the same way anymore. I think it's one of the most embarrassing things to come out of this song, like, easily.
Don't make it day freeze, cause if your GM is your BM secret BD, then this is all making plenty fucking sense to me. Hey, let that shorty breathe. Shake that ass, bitch. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Shake that ass for Drake. Now shake that ass for free.
This is so embarrassing. Every single time Kendrick mentions someone or something, Drake feels the need to directly address it. So Kendrick Lamar makes fun of how when he sees Drake and Sexy Red hanging out, he sees like two gals having a good old time. They're probably popping ass together. They're just two girls getting down. And Drake's like, I'm going to double down and reuse this hook from Sexy Red and I's song and drop it in the middle of this diss track. Who is this for? Is it just Drake like supporting Sexy Red? Because that's nice. But Sexy Red wasn't really the one getting dissed. I just don't really see the point of this. It's just corny to me. I'm sorry. Like, as a Drake fan, when I was listening to this, I am hoping and praying that Drake comes back with some fire, and I hear stuff like this, and I'm just like, dude, you're blowing it. You're losing.
Yeah, we're not that kind of free. I'm talking about my nigga Dave. Yo man, a Lil K, we call that shit a mini Drake. He always said I overlooked him, I was staring straight. These bars go over Kenny head no matter what I say. I know you like to keep it short, so let me paraphrase. Knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade. Niggas say, almost started reaching for my ways.
Would you all like me to break down all the fun and creative ways that Drake is calling Kendrick short? Because I don't really think it does anything for anybody. I don't think that after Euphoria, where Kendrick was basically telling Drake that he's trying his hardest to be black, but he's still not black enough. He sucks at being a father. The culture doesn't respect him. He hates everything about him. Like, after that, to hear Drake come back and just continue to call Kendrick short just doesn't really do anything for me. Does it do anything for you? Like, these bars go over Kenny's head no matter what I say. He doesn't understand what I'm saying, but he's also short. Ooh, I know you like to keep it short, so let me paraphrase. Get it? Keep it short because Kendrick Lamar is short. And then he says, I knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with the serenade. He's just saying that when The Weeknd disses Drake, it sounds like singing. So it's like a serenade because he's a singer. And then Drake says, I almost started reaching for my waist. What exactly is that supposed to mean? You heard that The Weeknd was singing a diss towards you and it made you want to reach for your gun that you definitely don't keep on your waist? I have never seen a picture or video of Drake in my entire life. And I have been a Drake fan since his first album, Thank Me Later. I have never once in my life thought to myself, oh man, I bet Drake has a gun on him. Is that a gun? Is Drake carrying a gun? I don't believe that. Like, so what are you talking about? Like, these are, it's a waste of words. It's a waste of my time. Now let's skip this hook and get back into Drake rapping and trying to diss people.
If Drake shooters doing TikToks, nigga really shooting in your gang, that's peace, brother. Y'all ain't getting shit shot, nigga. Can't listen to the stick talking falsetto, saving for a hip hop, nigga. You don't even be at home, dog. You a souvenir out the gift shop, nigga. Still mad about that one hoe. We ain't even fuck. I just lip lock with her. I get active when it's wartime. I ain't even really let my dick drop, nigga. What the fuck? I heard Rick drop, nigga. Talking something about a nose job, nigga. Ozempic got a side effect of jealousy and doubt. I never told y'all niggas. Put a nigga in the bars, let a nigga rock, kinda like your old job, nigga. House sitting on some land, but it's out where no one even really know y'all niggas. Bitches gotta drive 2 hours for you pay them just to give a blowjob, nigga. Must've started up a snowball, cause my last record deal was 400 M's. These days, that's a low bar, nigga.
So outside of Drake saying nigga like a dozen times, did we miss anything? Drake makes fun of The Weeknd for dissing him in falsetto, which is pretty funny, to be fair. He also says that The Weeknd's upset about like a woman that him and Drake both had a thing with. Spoiler alert, I actually don't care at all. Then Drake starts going at Rick Ross, who dropped a diss track on Drake that we will not be talking about because nobody cares. Then he's like, Rick Ross was taking Ozempic, but a side effect of taking Ozempic is jealousy. All right. Then he says, he basically reminds people or informs people that didn't know Rick Ross used to be a correctional officer back in the day, which, okay, I mean, yeah, sure, I guess that's kind of lame, but also, who cares? And then he reminds us that he's rich. Drake has a deal that's worth $400 million. That's fantastic. I just assumed that Drake had a bunch of money, but it's always nice to hear it again, isn't it? No? All right, let's move on. Drake has to say the N-word some more.
Hey, who's next on the list? Which one of my so-called niggas? Which one of my so-called niggas? Which one of my so-called niggas? Me the sheriff on the clip. Always knew I had to smoke y'all niggas. Good kid, Mad City van, we'll pot the latch and make the door slide. Tears running down my cheek, laughing at you pussy dying, it's a war cry. Weekend music getting played in all the spots where boys got a little more pride. That's why all your friends dip into Atlanta paying just to find a tour guide. Able run your fucking bread, need to buy some more chains for some more guys. Let me find another street nigga I could take to the game court side. Let me get a used Ferrari for a rapper, take the nigga on a horse ride. Anything to take a spotlight off the fact the boss is a drugged out little punk sissy from the north side.
Look.
Where?
Just because these disses don't really do anything for me and I don't care how much Drake hates The Weeknd, I don't want it to take away from the fact that Drake does sound pretty good at rapping. Like, he's going hard. Drake is rapping with more energy and passion than he has in a considerable amount of time. That also doesn't take away from the fact that, like, I don't know what he's talking about and I don't really care that much. This whole, like, a lot of what you just heard was him, like, making fun of The Weeknd for either being gay or having his music played in places where gay people go, and
Okay.
I don't really know what to say to that. What is the joke? Like, what is the diss?
Apparently, I could have been incorrect here, and he was actually referring to The Weeknd's manager who's spending money on a bunch of dudes. So, like, is the joke that Weeknd's manager is gay? Either way, it's just a silly insult. It's not really a super effective diss. Also, I thought this was about Kendrick Lamar.
Like, your music is gay. You're gay. You like hanging out with dudes. You buy dude stuff. Call me what you want, Drake. If I was as rich as The Weeknd, I would probably get my homie some courtside tickets. If I had the extra income, I'd probably buy my friend a car. Like, if I had as much money as The Weeknd has, which is so much money, like, The Weeknd is really, really successful. This is actually what a lot of people don't understand is When you give somebody this amount of attention, it kind of it kind of shows how big of a deal they kind of are. I don't even really know what The Weeknd did or said to Drake, but Drake is spending like a lot of time talking about how much he like detests whatever The Weeknd is up to. I thought this was a Kendrick Lamar diss.
Rock him talking shit again. Gas cause you hit my BM first, nigga. Do the math who I was hitting in. I ain't even know you rap still, cause they only talking about your fit again. Probably gotta have a kid again for you think of dropping any shit again. Even when you do drop, they gon' say you should've modeled cause it's mid again. Smoking 50, but they should've put you on the first one, trying to get it in. Ask Spring if this a good idea, the next time you cuddled in a bed again. Shit, leave it till you leave the boy alone before you get your head split again. Pluto shit made me sick to my stomach, we ain't never really been through it. Lil Wayne, he a fucking lame, so I know he had to be an influence. These niggas had a plan and they finally found a way to rope you into it. 2 separate albums dissing, I just did a Kim to it, nigga skim through it.
Look, if you want to hear this song in its entirety, I'll leave a link in the description. You've probably already heard it, okay? I'm just going to blast through this and then I'm going to skip forward to the part that I actually kind of enjoy. You know, Kendrick just opened his mouth.
And I'm up on my...
But before we get there, I just want to kind of skim through, kind of like how Drake said he was skimming through things. He says, gas because you hit my BM first, do the math, who I was hitting then. There is a shocking amount of just Drake bragging about who is having sex with who first and at what time and how it made people feel. It's very Drake-ish. I don't think Kendrick, the guy that he's supposed to be dissing, would really care about any of this. He's probably skimming through it too. I see a mention of Fenty, so he must be talking about A$AP Rocky. And, every time somebody is in a relationship or having any type of physical contact with somebody that Drake has ever had it with, he feels the need to like take stock of it, make note of it, and then bring it back up in a future song. And I just feel like that's really pathetic. It's like, dude, there's so many women. There's so many beautiful, incredible women in the world that Drake could be in a relationship, or he could be in a relationship with them, or he could be, hooking up with them at any given time. And it just seems weird to be like, oh, The Weeknd, oh, you like her? Well, I was with her. Are you upset about that? Oh, A$AP Rocky, you're with Rihanna now? Oh, well, I was with her first. Ooh, oh, Kendrick, you like white women, but you're with Whitney now, and ooh, it's weird. Like it's like a really immature way to view women and relationships. Like it's bad. Like it's kind of embarrassing actually. Like I actually prefer Drake when he's talking about the relationships that he tries to form with women, as opposed to him using them as kind of like props for these raps. I think I'm learning a lot about myself while breaking down this diss. Anyways, let's skip forward to him actually talking about Kendrick, because I don't really care about how him and 21 Savage were getting hoes dripping wet at shows, almost had to swim to it. I don't even know what that means. Oh, also he says that Kendrick Lamar's songs only sound good when Baby Keem is writing on them, which I don't even feel like I need to address that. Like, that's just stupid. Kendrick Lamar has had so many classic songs and classic albums before anybody knew that Baby Keem existed. So, like, what are you even doing? Whatever. We're going to skip. We're skipping to part 3. I love this beat, by the way.
Hey, Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Where's your uncle at? Cause I wanna talk to the man of the house. West Coast niggas do phase, right? Come get this ass whooping, I'm handing him out.
Drake got to the point where he's literally just like, let's just fight at this point. And honestly, I would appreciate that, because all of this back and forth, grown men writing poetry about each other, Drake's like, forget it, bro. I'm like 6 foot. Like I've been putting work in. Like, let's just box. And honestly, that would do us all like the biggest favor. We would love that, instead of having to go through all these songs, break all of them down. Can y'all just box? Drake wants to box, allegedly. Like, come get this ass whooping. I don't know who I'd have my money on, because like Drake physically probably has the advantage, but I feel like there's just more hate inside of Kendrick that would do a lot of work there. I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment.
You wanna take off for real? Then come get his legacy out of my house. A cease and desist is for hoes. Can't listen to lies that come out of your mouth. You caught a 2-pack of steak and begged them to sue me and get that shit down. I'm losing perspective on beef. Boy, when the send beat and I kill you for fun. Your daddy got robbed by Top. You stunning and Wayne like father like son. Anthony set up the plays. Kojo be charging you double for none. They shook about what I'ma say, but texting your phone like we already won. You tell me what I shouldn't say. But fucking my nigga, it's already done. We already know it's a 20v1. We already know why you went number one. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot. You right about fuck the big three. It's only Big D in this video proof.
First of all, you called the Tupac a steak and begged him to sue me and get that shit down. How could you possibly acquire proof that Kendrick Lamar reached out to the Tupac estate to get you to take that garbage tailor-made freestyle down? Does Drake actually think that the only way the Tupac estate would be made aware of this song is if Kendrick Lamar reached out to them personally? I don't believe that, but if it was true, you know, Drake is the first one to say all of this stuff is fake tea if there's no paperwork. First of all, can we talk about the fact that Drake is like using the word tea, like gossip, in his songs? But that's besides the point. Your Daddy Got Robbed by Top. I don't know if that's referring to Kendrick Lamar's Duckworth, which is one of his coolest songs and one of the coolest stories ever. But whatever. Anthony set up the plays. Koja be charging you double for nothing. Okay. Like, I'm glad that Drake is actually focused on Kendrick Lamar for this last verse. It seems like he's actually dedicating the appropriate amount of time and energy to the right person, the person that diss people actually care about. A lot of this stuff just isn't really hitting for me, though. We already know it's a 20v1. We already know why you went number one. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot. That's funny. Like, I think that's actually funny. It's like, oh, you only went number one because you were dissing me. Whatever money you made from dissing me, you should just give it directly to me is actually pretty funny. Like, I'm not going to lie. Something could be a good diss, though, but not actually do any damage. Does that make sense? If you're in a fight with somebody and you do 6 backflips, I'm going to be like, wow, 6 backflips in a row? I wish you would punch him, though. That's kind of how I feel. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of these Drake shots. You write about fuck the big three. It's only Big D and there's video proof. Drake alluding to a video of him touching his own penis in a diss against Kendrick is just,
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
I don't really have anything to say about that. I just kind of want you to sit with that, you know? I just want you to think about it. What are you talking about, man? Why are you saying that? Why are you reminding me of this thing that I wish I'd never seen?
Our son should go play at the park. 2 light-skinned kids, the shit would be cute. Unless you don't want to be seen with anyone that isn't blacker than you. We get it, we got it. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We get that you like to put gin in your juice. We get that you think that you bishop and juice. When you put your hands on your girl, is it self-defense cause she bigger than you? Your back is up against the curb. You digging for dirt, should be digging for proof.
Our son should go play at the park is pretty funny, but you don't want to be caught with anybody that's not as black as you. He's basically saying that Kendrick is making being black way too much a part of his identity and his disses towards Drake. That's fair. I mean, that's a cool shot.
Is it?
Drake has this way of being like very lighthearted about things that are relatively serious, and I think it kind of suits him sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But like the beat is a little bit like too hard and ominous for him to be talking about light-skinned kids playing at the park. Also, he says your back is up against the curb, and I just want you to visualize just how unbelievably short and small and tiny somebody would have to be for their back to be up against a curb. That's probably the funniest way in which Drake has called Kendrick short. Does it really matter? Not really, but, you know, it's worth acknowledging.
Why did you move to New York? Is it cause you live in that bachelor life? Proposed in 2015, but don't wanna make her your actual wife. I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening right, cause we know the girls that you actually like. The darkest secrets are coming to light. It's all on your face like what happened to Mike. Oh shit, it's all making sense. Maybe I'm Prince and you actually Mike. Michael was praying his features would change, so people believe that he's actually white. Top will make you do features for change. Get on pop records and rap for the whites. And wait, you say your brother Jermaine, but you only him to stay out of the light. Oh shit, just follow me, right? Cause nothing you saying could bother me, right? I get off the plane and nothing has changed. I head to Delilah with all of my ice. Head to Delilah with all of my ice. Head to Delilah with all of my ice. This shit gotta be over by now for anyone out here that's calling it right. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. There's nowhere to hide, there's nowhere to hide, you know what I mean. They hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. The picture you painted ain't what it seemed. You're dead.
You dead. You dead.
So first of all, Drake seems to be aware of the fact that Kendrick Lamar has moved to New York. Why does Drake know where Kendrick is living? I don't know, but that's, you know, cool, I guess, appropriate. If Kendrick actually proposed to Whitney in 2015 and they're still not married, Drake pointing that out is actually kind of cold. Like, damn, why aren't they married yet? I mean, that's one of the only things that Drake said that like actually even moves me a little bit. Maybe it's just because I'm actually married to somebody and I know what it's like to propose to them and then plan on getting married to them. I'm like, why haven't they gotten married yet? And they have kids together? That's odd. But also, in the grand scheme of things, compared to the things that Kendrick has said about Drake, maybe not that big of a deal. I don't know. But Drake knows how to ruin a good diss by saying that the reason why you guys aren't getting married, maybe it's because you actually like white women. Come on, dude. If there is a reason they're not getting married, it's probably not that. He literally says, I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening, right? Because we know the girls that you actually like. I highly doubt that's the reason. I also think it's kind of interesting that Drake brings up Michael was praying his features would change so people believe that he's actually white. Does anybody on this planet believe that Kendrick Lamar wishes he was white? What are you trying to say? Then he says Top would make you do features for change, get on Pop Records, and
Pop
rap
Records?
for the whites. Rap for the whites?
Rap for the whites.
Rap for the whites?
Rap for
Drake,
the whites.
music is for everyone.
Everyone.
Okay? Kendrick Lamar has put out the blackest songs ever, and white people love them regardless, even when there are no white people on the song. Again, I think I understand what Drake is trying to get at, but like in reality, like it doesn't actually make any sense. Drake is basically trying to say, you act like this tough, pro-black, love it, like you love black people. You're a black guy. You're proud to be black. Why are you doing song with white people? Huh? Why you do song with white people? What? Also, Drake's done songs with so many white people, I can't even count. Drake will do a song with anybody, especially if he can like cop their style. But that's, we'll talk about that at a later date. One thing that I do think was kind of cool that Drake said was, nothing you say could bother me, right? I get off the plane and nothing has changed. I head to the Lila with all of my eyes. Head to the Lila with all of my eyes. I do like that part. I just think it sounds fun. And it kind of implies that Drake isn't actually bothered by the things that are being said in these diss tracks, which even though I don't believe is true, I think he actually is very much bothered, which is why he gets very, very defensive, not just in this song, but Drake's next song. He is more defensive than anybody I have ever heard on any song ever, and I'm not even exaggerating. It is really bad, but we're not there just yet. The second thing that Drake really tried to hit Kendrick with, I told you earlier there were two things that Drake wanted to make a really big deal out of. One, Kendrick has a child that isn't actually his. Now, I don't think that's true. Nobody thinks that's true, especially after the Not Like Us music video. The second thing is, he's telling everybody that apparently Kendrick was beating Whitney, was beating her, putting hands on her. And it's like, that would be really bad if there was any reason to believe it was true. Like, we have 0% reason to believe it's true. If Kendrick says something, for example, like Drake's hiding a daughter. Now, there might not be any proof of that, but Drake has hid his son, so why wouldn't he hide his daughter? When Kendrick says things like Drake likes little girls, there's reason to believe that's true because, like, we've literally seen him acknowledge that a girl is 17 and then kiss her on the mouth on camera. We've seen Millie Bobby Brown talk about hanging out with Drake, texting back and forth, talking about how they miss each other. We've seen some of the things that Kendrick alludes to, okay? But this is supposed to be the big, like, finale, last fireworks of the night on July 4th. They hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. Nobody believes that. Literally no one, except for, like, delusional Drake fans. And I, at one point, I cannot stress this enough. Like, I am the biggest Drake fan I know. And this has been awful. This has been a really rough couple months for me from a Drake fan's perspective because everything he tries to hit Kendrick with either doesn't matter or there's no proof behind it. So, yeah, that's Family Matters. On first listen, it was really cool. Like, Drake's obviously trying really hard. Like, the rap sounds good, but half the song he's talking about stuff and people that have nothing to do with anything, like nobody cares about. Your beef with Metro, who's sleeping with who, your beef with A$AP Rocky, who hasn't even dropped any music in a while. He's just hanging out with Rihanna and having a baby with her. You going back and forth with The Weeknd, calling him gay, saying he hangs out with guys and buys them too much stuff. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. Going back and forth with Rick Ross. When is the last time you were hanging out with somebody and they're like, hey, bro, throw on that Rick Ross? Nobody even listens to this guy. So, like, the fact that you felt the need to spend so much time going back at him means that he struck a chord. So, yeah. And unfortunately, right after Family Matters dropped, when the biggest Drake fans were trying to declare that he was now ahead, as if this song was even better than Euphoria, which it is not, by the way, Kendrick would immediately drop. And I mean within half an hour of Family Matters dropping. Meet the Grams drop, and we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, this took a while to put together. I hope you enjoy it. If you're on YouTube, please, please, please like this video. But guys, Kendrick followed through. I know that in my last episode, I was basically talking about how embarrassing Family Matters is. The only reason it's so embarrassing is because of everything that happened afterwards. When it first came out, most people thought it was pretty cool. Unfortunately, right after Family Matters dropped, the worst thing that has ever happened to Drake fans dropped within half an hour. And that's going to be the topic of today's show. Derapy. Unlike when Drake releases a diss track, it just so happens that pretty much every single thing that Kendrick Lamar says in his diss tracks have meaning. So go ahead and buckle up. This is probably going to be another 35 to 45 minute episode. So lock in. We're going to get all the way into it. Jesus, I am not looking forward to this at all. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, the only thing I can compare the feeling of listening to this song for the first time is like finding out that Kobe Bryant and his daughter died in a helicopter crash in the middle of a January afternoon. I remember exactly where I was and how I felt when that happened. When I was listening to Meet the Grams for the first time, I completely locked in as a delusional Drake fan. And it took me a couple of hours. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my brother, just breaking it down and trying to make sense of it, trying to make it not as bad as it actually was. But I can't handle it anymore. Let's just listen to the song.
Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father, let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man, your dad is not responsive. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. I'm sorry that you gotta grow up and then stand behind him. Life is hard, I know. The challenges always go beat us home. Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we grown. And you're a good kid that need good leadership. Let me be your mentor, since your daddy don't teach you shit.
The second word of the song is Drake's son's government name.
The gun would go off.
I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I heard Dear Adonis, I knew this was going to be a long night, man. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom.
Dude.
Off rip, we're talking about like wishing another human being just didn't exist. I didn't think that we were like, I heard Kendrick say, I hate the way that you walk and the way that you talk and the way that you dress. I thought that was pretty mean, but I didn't think we were going to get to the point where we were just like, I wish you weren't here. I just Kendrick feels the way about Drake that I used to feel about one of my exes. I would never wish harm on you, but I kind of just wish you didn't live on this planet anymore. You don't have to die, but like, can you just cease to exist? Does that make sense? Does anybody hear me?
No.
Is that mean?
Never let a man piss on your leg, son. Either you die right there or pop that man in the head, son.
Apparently in 2010 at some movie premiere, T.I., you guys know T.I. I don't know. Maybe you're too young. I'm 27. I grew up listening to artists like T.I. and Gucci Mane.
Try again.
Gucci Mane, Prime Lil Wayne, the Blueprint 3 era, Jay-Z, Prime Kanye. Good times. So yeah, T.I. was at this movie premiere, same movie premiere that Drake's at. And for whatever reason, one of T.I.'s homies is like really drunk. So drunk that he pees on Drake. Now, my thing is, I don't understand how you accidentally pee on somebody. So I feel like this was done intentionally. I don't know. I wasn't there. But apparently Meek Mill mentioned this in a diss track. T.I. mentioned it in a song, and now Kendrick is mentioning it. And basically, the story is that Drake didn't do anything about it. Now, I've been in college. I was in a fraternity. I know that sometimes people can't control their bowels when they drink too much. It is still pretty difficult to like pee directly on somebody. And apparently Drake didn't do anything about it. And that is
Bitch made.
that's pretty lame. You know what's funny? When I first listened to this, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what that was referring to. Now I'm doing a show about it, so I'm looking into it, and I just keep finding out more and more things about Drake that I just wish I never knew.
Never fall in the escort business, that's bad religion. Please remember, you could be a bitch even if you got bitches. Never code switch, whether right or wrong. You're a black man, even if it don't benefit your goals. Do some push-ups, get some discipline. Don't cut them corners like your daddy did. Fuck what Ozempic did. Don't pay to play with them Brazilians. Get a gym membership. Understand, no throwing rocks and hiding hands, that's law. Don't be ashamed about who you with, that's how he treats your moms. Don't have a kid to hide again, be sure. 5% will comprehend, but 95 is lost.
Please remember, you could be a bitch even if you got bitches is so funny. It seems like something that you would have heard somebody say by now, but I've never heard anybody say it until Kendrick. And saying that Drake fell into the escort business is actually really sad because, like, I just don't understand personally. If I was Drake,
We don't want to be Drake.
obviously women love me. It just seems really easy to get action without directly paying women to have sex with you. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be that rich and famous, but I don't know.
You never will.
It's just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing to be made public. Also, this whole Drake taking Ozempic thing, getting surgery, it's so embarrassing because one of the first things that many people say they would do if they came into a ridiculous amount of money is like get a personal chef, get a personal trainer. Like, it is not too terribly difficult to get in shape, to lose weight. And I just feel like taking shortcuts with pills and drugs is just like such a lame thing to do. Like, I know that's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but I think it just kind of sets the foundation of the type of person that Drake is. Like, why would I work hard to look good when I could just pay some doctor to give me something to do it? You know? Does Kendrick seem like the type of guy that would like have gastric bypass surgery, like shrink his stomach or something so he eats less? I've seen Kendrick doing a lot of push-ups in the past couple months. Like, I don't think it's too crazy hard to get in shape.
Be proud of who you are. Your strength come from within. Lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. And you nothing like him. You'll carry yourself as king. Can't understand me right now. Just play this when you 18.
The reason why Kendrick Lamar has always been one of my favorite rappers is because his ability to tell stories in such unique ways, the way that he structures the narrative. One of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs is this song called Fear. It's towards the end of his Damn album, which people hate on. I say people as if it wasn't me. I used to hate on Damn. But the song Fear, it's 3 different verses, and it's Kendrick Lamar talking about things he was afraid of when he was 7, things he was afraid of when he was 17, and then things he was afraid of when he was 27. And his voice changes, and the circumstance changes. And Kendrick Lamar is just so talented at telling stories and structuring his songs in unique ways. Tyler, the Creator's like that too, but this isn't about him. And the way that he approaches this song as if he's writing a letter to Drake's son, writing a letter to Drake, writing a letter to his mom, his dad. It's just cool, man. I'm sorry. And I just don't think Drake is capable of that level of artistry. But let's get into the second verse.
Dear Sandra, your son got some habits, I hope you don't undermine them. Especially with all the girls that's hurt inside this climate. You're a woman, so you know how it feels to be in alignment with emotions, hoping a man can see you and not be blinded. Dear Dennis, you gave birth to a master manipulator. Even using you to prove who he is a huge favor. I think you should ask for more paper, and more paper, and more paper.
Never in my life have I heard a rapper directly address the parents of another rapper. Where have we gone? Also, the fact that Kendrick is saying that Drake owes his dad money because he's the black side that's allowed him to have the career he has is one of the most under talked about and ridiculous things I have ever come to be aware of.
I'm blaming you for all his gambling addictions, psychopath intuition, the man that liked to play victim. You raised a horrible fucking person. The nerve of you, Dennis. Sandra, sit down. What I'm about to say is heavy. Now listen. Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think niggas like him should die. Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in a cell for the rest of their life. He hates black women, hypersexualize them with kinks of a nympho fetish. Grew facial hair because he understood being the beard just fit him better. He got sex offenders on OVO that he keep on a monthly allowance. A child should never be compromised and he keeping his child around him. And we gotta raise our daughters knowing there's predators like him lurking. Fuck a rap battle, he should die so all of these women can live with a purpose.
Pausing it right here because the first time I listened to this song, I also paused it here, and I remember just saying out loud, like, this has gone so much farther than I could have ever possibly imagined. Kendrick directly telling Sandra and Dennis that they did a bad job as parents is nothing that I'd ever thought I would hear from anyone in a rap beef. We've also gotten to the part in the song where Kendrick is straight up like, I think you should probably die. I thought this was supposed to be a friendly fade. He's like, I think he should be killed. I also don't want to neglect to mention him mentioning that Drake has a gambling addiction. I truly believe that. And it's become so prominent and well known that Drake is gambling all the time because I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Drake curse, but sometimes before big NFL, NBA games or big UFC matches, Drake will publicly post that he has bet
Hundreds of thousands of dollars
on games or matches that there is no way Drake is enough of an expert about to have the audacity to put this amount of money on. It's ridiculous.
Is this God's plan?
Do you have any idea what it's like to be a fan of Drake, but also a fan of a specific team or player, and then seeing Drake put money on that team or player or individual and have thousands of people in the comments of the post being like, oh, well, we lost. It's the Drake curse. It's not a great feeling. And back to the more important stuff, Kendrick Lamar comparing Drake to the likes of Harvey Weinstein was very frightening to me as a Drake fan that thought this was like a relatively like civil rap beef. Like, okay, Kendrick hates him. He hates everything about him. That's fine. A lot of people hate Drake. That's not that big of a deal. This was me full on coping back in May. But when he starts talking about having sex offenders on the payroll and how he should die so women can live with a purpose, I'm like, we're going to have to do a little bit of digging here because this is some heavy stuff. Like, keep the children away? Like, hold up.
I've been in this industry 12 years. I'ma tell y'all one little secret. It's some weird shit going on, and some of these artists be here to police it. They be streamlining victims all inside of their home and calling them tender. Then leak videos, sell themselves to further push their agendas. To any woman that be playing this music, know that you're playing your sister. Or better yet, selling your niece. To the weirdos, not the good ones. Cat Williams, I gave you the truth, so I'ma get mines. The embassy about to get raided too. It's only a matter of time. Hey, Lil Bron, keep the family away. Hey, Curry, keep the family away. To anybody that embody the love for their kids, keep the family away. They looking at you too if you standing by him. Keep the family away. I'm looking to shoot through any pervert that lives. Keep the family safe.
Okay, let me be fair. This is the point in the song where, upon first listen, it started to lose me for a bit.
Wow, you're doing flips on
Stay
it,
with
my
me
boy.
now. I think invoking the names of LeBron James and Steph Curry was a bit much. Now, I happen to be an NBA fan. I like me some LeBron. I like me some Curry. I like great players in general. We're not going to have a conversation about what NBA players deserve admiration or adulation or whatever. But my point is, LeBron James and Steph Curry did not ask to be a part of this beef. I could only imagine what it's like to be Steph Curry or Ayesha Curry and hearing that you being anywhere within a 5-mile radius of Drake is putting your children in danger. I don't know if that was entirely necessary. And this could have just been the Drake fan in me coping, but I didn't see that necessarily carrying the weight that Kendrick probably thought it was going to. But also I do want to address, Kendrick says that Drake has sex offenders on the OVO payroll. Now, something like that is huge, and I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to find out. So let's see. I'm going to look at what Genius says first. Notably, Baka Not Nice former OVO security guard, is a current OVO artist who's been charged with prostitution and human trafficking in the past.
Expose him!
Come with me down the rabbit hole. I'm going to tap on this hyperlink here. This is an article that was published May 12th of 2015 by the Toronto Sun. Drake entourage member guilty of assaulting woman. A member of rapper Drake's entourage was sentenced to 6 months in jail for assaulting a woman during a domestic dispute. Now, in the article, it says charges of procuring for prostitution and human trafficking were dropped. But it does beg the question.
Baca does have a weird case.
Why is he around? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really feel like digging into it, but I mean, when I hear that this guy has a weird case, it doesn't surprise me considering he literally pled guilty to assaulting a woman in the past. But either way, it's not a good look. Me personally, if somebody I know that I'm close with is found guilty in a court for assaulting a woman, not somebody that I would mention in my songs or continue to keep in my circle. So Kendrick might be onto something. Speaking of being onto something, you want to hear something really weird?
Dear baby girl, I'm sorry that your father not active inside your world. He don't commit to much, but it's music, yeah, that's for sure. He a narcissist, misogynist, living inside his songs. Try to destroy families rather than taking care of his own. She'll be teaching you timetables or watching Frozen with you. Or at your 11th birthday, singing poems with you. Instead, he being Turks, paying for sex and popping perks, examples that you don't deserve. I want to tell you that you're loved, you're brave, you're kind. You got a gift to change the world and can change your father's mind. Cause our children is the future, but he lives inside confusion. Money's always been illusion, but that's the life he's used to. His father probably didn't claim him neither. History do repeats itself, sometimes it don't need a reason.
Look, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy recording a show in some random place in the middle of Delaware, okay? Like, who am I? I don't know whether Drake has a daughter or not. I don't think Kendrick knows whether Drake has a daughter or not. I find it impossible, actually, that Kendrick has, like, undeniable proof that Drake is hiding a daughter. Now, do I think it's possible that Drake has knocked up more than one person in his life? For sure. Like, this is probably like just like a Game of Thrones type thing where Drake has bastards all over the country that he doesn't even know about, or he does know about and he's just paying people to shut up about, like Anthony Edwards, okay?
What?
Send the video.
But the point is, the fact that people are even wondering whether or not it's true, I feel like is the diss in itself. It's like Kendrick and Drake have both said a lot of things that can't be proven as a matter of fact. But I think it's much more likely that Drake had a daughter that we don't know about than that Kendrick's fiance cheated on him with his friend and Kendrick knows about it, but they're all so cool with each other and Kendrick's just raising a child that isn't his and dancing around with Whitney in a music video even though he had just been beating on her. I feel like that's less likely than Drake just having another kid, you know? And I feel like regardless of whether it's true or not, and for the record, I don't know, and I also truly don't even care. The fact that so many people just assumed that it was true, I feel like says a lot about Drake, you know? Also, Drake is so stupid that after this song comes out of Kendrick directly addressing his parents by name, calling him a sex trafficker, saying that he has sex traffickers around him, saying that he's leaking videos of his own to try and convince women to be lured into his vicious den of offenders. The fact that Drake goes on Instagram immediately after Meet the Grams drops and says, somebody help me find this daughter of mine. Dude is completely like missing the whole like point. Brother has missed the mark to the degree. I've never seen such lack of focus. And it was so hard. It was so hard for me at this time when Meet the Grams dropped. And I also just don't want it to be forgotten because things like this do happen. Paul George was just blowing another chance at contention when this happened, and people completely forget that because Meet the Grams dropped. But I just wanted it to be known, by the way, The Clippers still suck. Let's continue with the analysis.
But I would like to say it's not your fault that he's hiding another child. Give him grace. This the reason I made Mr. Morale. So our babies like you can cope later. Give you some confidence to go through something. It's hope later. I never want to hear you chasing man cause it's failed behavior. Sitting in the club with sugar daddies for validation. You need to know that love is eternity and trumps all pain. I tell you who your father is. Just play this song when it rains. Yes, he's a hit maker, songwriter, superstar, right? And a fucking dead beat that should never say more life. Meet the Grams.
Dude, when I first heard this part, I was like, this man is full of so much hatred and vile. Like,
Kendrick Lamar hates that mixed Canadian so goddamn much. I'm beginning to wonder if I've ever hated somebody in my fucking life. He said, look, this isn't about rap beef. I hate you.
Telling Drake's potential offspring to play this song when it rains, like they're a sad anime character that's been through a devastating defeat, is so ridiculous. Now, a lot of this doesn't hit the same on re-listen because you're probably thinking to yourself, like, Drake probably doesn't even have like a daughter that he's hiding, so who cares? But that doesn't really take away from the fact that Kendrick Lamar is calling him a narcissist, misogynist, that he's destroying families, that he's paying for sex at Turks and Caicos and popping perks. Like, dude has a drug problem, sex problem, isn't happy with his body, isn't happy with himself, is a bad example for kids that he has or thinks that he doesn't have. It's all just really cutting stuff. And him using Drake basically being a deadbeat and saying that it's cyclical because his dad wasn't there for him is just like, it's just mean. You ever been like in a roast battle with somebody and it seems like mad chill and then somebody just starts to absolutely pop off with some diabolical stuff like, yeah, that's why your hairline is whack. Your mama gotta buy 2 airplane seats because she big as hell. Yo, Jordan's dirty as fuck, boy. Yeah, your dad lost his job. That's why them bruises showing today, huh? He mad and he taking it out on you, huh? That cancer hurting your mama, ain't it, boy? How much time she got left? Tick tock, tick tock. Yeah, that's why your sister got stabbed. And you're like, bro, we were just playing Super Smash Brothers. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know how we went from somebody being called Pipsqueak to I hope you die. I just did not think that it was going to get to this level. And we're not even done.
Dear Hybrid, I know you probably thinking I wanted to crash your party, but truthfully I don't have a hating bone in my body. This supposed to be a good exhibition within the game, but you fucked up the moment you called out my family's name. Why you had to stoop so low to discredit some decent people? Guess integrity is lost when the metaphors doesn't reach you. And I like to understand cause your house was never a home. 37 but you showing up as a 7-year-old. You got gambling problems, drinking problems, pill popping and spending problems. Bad with money, whorehouse, soliciting women problems. Therapy's a lovely start, but I suggest some ayahuasca. Strip the ego from the bottom.
Kendrick foretold this.
He foretold.
He said it was always about love and hate, and I think that this is going to sound crazy. Maybe I'll sound soft because of this, but I think he actually just loves Whitney that much. You're telling me that because Drake called out your family's name, Whitney being fam in this scenario, that he's like, you know what? Actually, gambling problems, drinking problems, pill popping, spending problems. You're bad with money. You solicit women. You need therapy. Like, dude.
He also said he should die.
I respect it. I'm not going to lie, because I have been personally attacked before, like verbally. I got bullied when I was younger, and then when I started making podcasts, when I started making content, when I started talking about controversial things, people would say all types of things about me, and truthfully, I really don't care. Nobody's really real to me because like I can't see you and I don't know, like you don't know where I am, I don't know where you are, we're never gonna see each other, none of this even really matters. But if somebody were to like attack somebody that I love on a personal level, then like I could, who knows what I'm capable of. And I guess who would have thought that this was just like a love story? This was supposed to be an exhibition, a battle of wits. And I think once Drake took it to a place that Kendrick didn't like, and it's so weird because the same thing happened with Pusha T. As soon as he mentioned Pusha T's girl, he's like, okay, well, you have a son and your friend's dying and you lost. And the same thing's happening here. First, it was just Kendrick Lamar being like, boom, and like that was fun. That was pretty funny. Big 3, more like Big Me and then cue the Mordecai and Rigby. Oh, like it was gonna be straight. It was fine. But like, what are you doing? What did Whitney do? Stop attacking innocent people, you know? Otherwise, you're going to feel the wrath of a Kendrick Lamar. And in a way, this was inevitable, I suppose.
I try to empathize with you, cause I know that you ain't been through nothing. Crave entitlement, but wanna be like so bad that it's puzzling. No dominance. Let's recap moments when you didn't fit in. No secret handshakes with your friend. No culture cachet to binge. Just disrespecting your mother. Identities on the fence. Don't know which family will love you. The skin that you living in is compromised in personas. Can't channel your masculine even when standing next to a woman. You a body shamer. You go hide them baby mamas, ain't you? You embarrassed of them. That's not right. That ain't how mama raised us. Take that mask off. I wanna see what's under them achievements. Why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. Cause you lied about religious views. You lied about your surgery. You lied about your accent and your past tense. All is perjury. You lied about your ghost riders. You lied about your crew members. They all pussy. You lied on them. I know they all got you in them. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter, huh? You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come. You lied about the only artist that can offer you some help. Fuck a rap battle. This a long life battle with yourself.
You ever seen like the end of a really, really powerful film? Actually, this would happen to me every time I finished an episode of Black Mirror. Sometimes I would just sit there and I would just stare at the screen in silence and I'd be like, I don't know if I could do another episode tonight. That was pretty heavy. That's how I felt at the end of Meet the Grams. And that that part where he keeps saying you lied and it has like the background bits in there, bro, that shit was so heavy, dude. I felt like I was in trouble for something.
You lied about your ghost riders. You lied about your crew member. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter, huh? You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come.
I'm sitting here like, dude, I didn't do anything. Leave me alone. A couple other bits that I want to highlight from this last verse here. I try to empathize with you because I know that you ain't been through nothing. It's really funny. Like, I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not, but he's like, I know you haven't been through anything for real, but, you know, I'm trying to help you out anyways. I think he's actually baffled that Drake has so many problems considering like he grew up relatively comfortable. Like he was a child actor. He really wasn't on Degrassi that long before putting out mixtapes and being discovered by Lil Wayne. When he says take that mask off, I want to see what's under them achievements. Why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in. I was like, oh my God, I don't even believe that, but it's still like such a stinging thing to say to somebody. And I feel like the end of this track is really powerful because there are a lot of accusations being flung back and forth in this beef. And it would be easy to assume that Kendrick is going to call Drake a liar because of the things that he's been saying about Kendrick. But Kendrick doesn't really take any time addressing these specific accusations that Drake is throwing at him. Things about his wife, about his children. All he does is say, no, Drake, you are lying, but all the lying that you're doing is about yourself. And that has to be, like, that must have stuck with Drake. Like, I feel like that's the biggest indictment of Drake as a artist, as a musician, as a pop star, famous person, celebrity, is that it's all kind of built on a bit of a facade. The accents are part of the facade. His religion is part of the facade. Him keeping his child a secret is part of the facade. Him pretending to be tougher than he actually is part of the facade. Him pretending to be in better shape than he actually is part of the facade. The biggest bit of fugazi is him pretending as if he is so great at beef that he can actually beat Kendrick Lamar by only dedicating half of a song to him or a verse or two of a song to him, when Kendrick Lamar is going out of his way to break the individual Drake down with every single line. I don't have time to go through every single line of every single verse of every single song that Kendrick puts out because honestly, I'm just not that kind of guy. I care about this, but I don't care about it so much. I like Kendrick Lamar and Drake as music artists. I enjoy their music, but I am not a self-proclaimed stan. If anything, throughout my life, I've been more of a fan of Drake's music than Kendrick's, but that's honestly because when I was younger, Kendrick's music didn't appeal to me because Kendrick wasn't making music for children. Drake was making music that anybody could play at their high school prom or their middle school dance. One dance is cool everywhere. The blacker the berry, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, like Keisha's song. This isn't stuff that you can just put on the aux cord wherever you go. And that's okay. The problem is that Drake is pretending like he's in a lane he's not actually in. He's fighting a battle that he never could have won because it's basically like Taylor Swift beefing with Beyonce over who has better vocal talent. It's like, dude, Taylor Swift, you are an incredibly popular human being. You make music that is very suitable for people of all ages. A lot of the content of Beyonce's songs and her raw talent is leagues and levels above you. So I feel like that was most on display with these past couple of songs. And you know what's even crazier about this past half hour? All this stuff that we're talking about, you could have come to the conclusion that Kendrick has won. Drake put out what he thought was his biggest endeavor throughout this beef, this 6-7 minute track of Family Matters that aged terribly, but at the time was really cool. Many people, including myself even though I didn't think that Euphoria wasn't as good as Family Matters, I thought, well, this is a really strong effort by Drake. If Kendrick were to stop right now, some would say that it's a draw. But Meet the Grams dropping directly after Family Matters to the point where people weren't even done digesting all of what was in Family Matters and how much Drake hates The Weeknd singing disses towards him before Kendrick Lamar is telling us that Drake is the rap industry's Harvey Weinstein and his parents should be ashamed of him.
And he should die.
And it gets worse. Kendrick wasn't even done. If you've listened to all of this, I can only assume that you liked it. And the only way that small channels, small podcasts, small shows like mine grow is if people like it, but also leave comments. On my last video, I responded to so many, and I really, like, the best part of what I'm doing right now is being able to engage with people and look at the funny parts from this beef and laugh about it with people in the comments. So leave a like. Even if you hate the video, comment and tell me why you hated it. But love you, mean it, enjoy the outro, and you know what we're talking about next. Quick question. Tell me if this is a fair trade, okay? We're like almost 3 hours into this podcast, into this video, and it's not monetized. I'm making $0 off the video itself because I am posting like full songs made by other people. Now, there is an option on YouTube for you to become a member, which I know sounds crazy, but it's actually only $1, and it gives you access to some pretty cool stuff. And just ask yourself this: if I consume 5 hours of content from one person, do you think it would be cool to like throw them $1? Like, just I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking out loud. Anyways, here's Not Like Us. I used to watch World Star Hip Hop fight compilations when I was younger on our family computer, which I know is crazy. But like, I used to just love watching people fight for no reason. I like watching people get knocked out. I like watching people yell from the background. I like trying to guess who was going to win the fight, like very early on or before the fight even started. One thing I didn't appreciate about these fights, though, is sometimes it would be very clear that somebody had lost, like they aren't even fighting back anymore, and somebody would just continue to wail on them. Or if somebody was getting jumped, people would be kicking a guy in the head. I'm like, dude,
that man is gonna die.
You're gonna kill him. Stop. He's done. He's already lost. That's the same feeling that I felt when Kendrick Lamar dropped Not Like Us, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Derapy. I was visiting my hometown of Toledo, and I happened to be out to dinner with some friends. I didn't actually want to go out to dinner because it was game 1 of the Timberwolves and Nuggets series, and for me, every game of the playoffs at that point was the most important game so far. And Not Like Us dropped, and I noticed this because I was on Twitter, because I like to be on Twitter while I'm watching NBA games. Every single time somebody misses a shot, people are telling them that they should retire, and I appreciate that part of that toxic part of NBA Twitter. And I saw Kendrick Lamar just started trending in the middle of like the first or second quarter of this game. And I was like, there's no way that Kendrick Lamar just dropped another diss track. People kept saying he dropped, check his YouTube. I'm in complete denial at this point. Meet the Grams had literally just dropped, and I was still trying to find ways to downplay the severity of this diss in my mind as a Drake fan. And when I saw the Not Like Us dropped, I was like, nah, this guy's beating a dead horse. He's doing way too much. And I'm telling the other people at this dinner the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, Kendrick just dropped again. He's literally milking this. He didn't even give Drake a chance to respond. Like, I have this flashback to when I was a kid and somebody is on the ground being kicked instead of anybody letting them get up. But then I put one AirPod in while I'm out in public. I'm listening to Not Like Us. And as soon as I hear, psst, I see dead people.
Aye, mustard on the beat, ho.
No. Wait.
I put my AirPod back in my case and I literally just put my head down. My friends are like, Derek, what's going on, man? Is it the diss track? I said, I can't listen to this right now. It's too much. I just want to watch the game. But then in the car on the way back to my friend's apartment, I can't hide anymore. Psst, I see dead people.
Aye, mustard on the beat, ho. Debo, any rap nigga, he a free throw. Man down, call her Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro. Nail a nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton.
How is Kendrick dissing Drake before the beat even starts? Deep down in my heart, I didn't even want to acknowledge the fact that Drake ended his Family Matters song in a very, very cringy way.
You're dead. There's nowhere to hide, you know what I mean. They hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. The picture you painted ain't what it seemed, you did.
Drake declares Kendrick dead, so naturally Kendrick starts out this song with, psst, I see dead people. This could also be alluding to the fact that Drake has ghostwriters. Then he calls Drake or any other rapper that wants smoke with him a free throw, which is the... It's one of the funniest ways I've ever heard anybody refer to somebody that is a easy challenge. I really like to incorporate this into my vocabulary somehow. Nah, bro, there's no way you can get her number. Get her number, bro, that's a free throw. How many ops you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on his body. I'm John Stockton. Kendrick says that Drake has so many ops that he could really pass this on to anybody else because it's so easy. It's like a free throw. He then invokes the name of John Stockton, who was known for being one of the best passers in the history of the game. Who did he pass it to the most? Karl Malone, who I don't know if anybody knows this. I like to pretend that I don't. This man impregnated a 13-year-old girl when he was 20 years old, and it's only natural that Kendrick would bring him up when talking about Drake.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walking down whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pole on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him.
There are a couple of things that Kendrick has said throughout this beef that just live in my head rent-free, and you wouldn't believe that one of them just so happens to be,
Beat your ass and hide the Bible of God watching.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible of God watching.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible of God's watching.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible of God watching.
Enough of that.
I just feel like that line doesn't get enough praise, but whatever. Kendrick would, in fact, pop out at a show that we will talk about at a later date that really, really, really was just so over the top in embarrassing Drake. Also, when Kendrick says certified boogeyman, I immediately got concerned because the use of the word certified I knew was probably going to show up again throughout the song, and it did in the most iconic and unfortunate way for Sir Drizzy.
Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs and party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baka got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop.
I just feel like low-key one of the coldest parts of this song is him just being like,
say Drake.
Something about that is just really funny to me because he's referred to him a couple of different ways, like Aubrey, the hit maker, superstar, like, and it's time, unfortunately, for the truth. I've been putting this off for as long as I've been making these videos, but when Kendrick says that Drake likes him young, I feel like a lot of people are still just a small set of people, Drake fans, the bad kind, not me. For the record, when I say I'm a Drake fan, I'm a fan of Drake's music, okay? Clearly, as a human being, this man has some serious faults, and now feels like the appropriate time for us to talk about what Kendrick means when he says that Drake likes him young. Exhibit A. This is Millie Bobby Brown talking about her relationship with Drake. Mind you, she is how old in this clip, Editor Derek?
She's 14.
And a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just texted each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more.
Now, please, if you're a Drake fan, can you explain to me why Drake is texting Millie Bobby Brown that he misses her when she's 14 years old? That's all I want to know. What exactly does he miss about her? Even if he was just being nice, we can't even give him the excuse of her saying that she texted him first. She says she texted him, I miss you more. Drake is initiating contact with this 14-year-old. I don't care if they're famous. I don't care if they have similar experiences because of fame. Stop texting children. This man at this point is in his early 30s. I have a little sister. I remember when she was 14. If she's being texted by 30-year-old men,
that man should be arrested immediately.
And it gets worse.
That's awesome. What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys. He helps me.
What?
Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
Now, let's be clear, okay? It would be one thing if Drake was just texting Millie Bobby Brown, I miss you, it was cool when we hung out. I don't know what they do together, but I'm not going to pretend to know anything more than I actually do. But Millie Bobby Brown is a pretty good source on what's happening with Millie Bobby Brown. And when she says that her and Drake are talking about boys when she is a young teenager, let me ask you this, okay? We're all grown here, I imagine. I'm 27 years old, so I have friends that are around like the age of 30. I can't...
Yeah, bro. Watch the mic, bro.
I'm freaking out. I'm actually getting upset just thinking about it. If I found out that one of my friends is giving boy advice to young teenagers... I don't even know what I would do. I would be like, bro, you've got to be trolling. You've got...
Bro, get some water.
I don't know if you guys have noticed by now, but these podcasts, these videos that I do are not scripted. I'm at a loss for words. I'm just putting myself in the shoes of somebody that is friends or knows of a 30-year-old man texting a 14-year-old girl about how she should handle boys. There's just no excuse for it. Exhibit B. Now, I know that this is a while back, but in 2010, at a concert in Denver, Colorado, Drake kissed a 17-year-old girl on the mouth. Now, I don't know if you knew about this. I'm going to break it down just a little bit. I'm sure your first question is, well, how old was Drake in 2010? That was so long ago. I was just a wee baby. Drake was 24 years old. He was 24. I was just 24 3 years ago. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video, but I just want you to really lock in, tap into this audio that you're about to hear, and then we'll get back to this wonderful song, I promise. But just listen to how Drake talks about the 17-year-old girl.
Y'all gonna have me getting carried away again. I get in trouble for shit like this. How old are you?
Now, at this point, Drake knows that this girl is 17. She says it. You probably can barely hear it. Go find the video for yourself. The girl said she's 17. Now, at this point, Drake has this girl up on stage, and right after she says that she's 17, what would you do? I know what I would do. I'd be like, sit your little back down. You're done. This bit is done. Nobody's touching you. Nobody's looking at you. Go back to the audience. I'm going to continue to perform more music. He says, why do you look like that? You're thick. Look at all of this, as he gestures to her body.
17. I had fun. I don't know if I should feel guilty or not, but I had fun. I like the way your breasts feel against my chest.
I like the way your breasts feel against my chest. I just want you to think about that. This girl has admitted that she's 17 years old to Drake. He says he doesn't know if he should feel guilty or not. I have a clue. And then he says that he likes the way her breasts feel against his chest. And then shortly thereafter, he kisses her. He kisses her on the head, on the cheek, and on the mouth. And I just think that's disgusting. That's all I'm saying. So Kendrick says that they tell me Chubb's the only one that gets your hand-me-downs and party at the party playing with his nose down. So Party next door, good friend of Drake's. Apparently, he has a bit of a drug problem, and Kendrick would like for you to know. Chubbs apparently gets the girls that Drake's done with, his hand-me-downs. That's unfortunate. That's not a great position to be in. And then he says, certified lover boy. More like certified pedophiles. And then he continues with wop, 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 which once again invokes the image of Kendrick just wailing on the guy. Verbally, of course, like in a metaphorical sense. And I just think that Buddy Drake's getting murked at this point. Like, it's not particularly close.
Wop, 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 that fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. They not like us. 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 They not like us.
What's so crazy about this specific part, the very first time I heard this hook, I had been so locked in listening to the diss that when the hook came through, I literally went from like introspective to just like, oh man,
It's a vibe.
this shit kind of a vibe though. And it killed me. It really killed me. I was like, oh no. And it's catchy too.
They not like us. They not like us. You think the Bay gon' let you disrespect Pac, nigga? I think that Oakland show gon' be your last stop, nigga. They cold foul. I don't know why you still pretending. What is the owl? Bird niggas and bird bitches. Go. The audience not dumb. Shape the stories how you want. Hey Drake, they're not slow. Rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. Ain't there some P-rest that's for bitchin'? You Malibu most wanted.
Don't let me forget, trying to strike a chord is probably A minor is probably the single most iconic line from this song. And when Kendrick Lamar performed this at the Pop-Out show on Juneteenth and the song cut out after A minor and everybody in a packed out arena just continued to hold that note, that might have been the single most impactful moment of the entire summer for hip hop.
Why you calling like a bitch? Ain't you trying to strike a chord? And it's probably...
How does Drake sleep?
You think the Bay gonna let you disrespect Pac? I think that Oakland show gonna be your last stop. This is like another direct physical threat of violence towards Drake, which I think is just really funny. How casually Kendrick is just like, if you show up here, it might be like the last stop you ever make. Did Cole foul? I don't know why you still pretending. Now I wanted to tap into this for a second because J. Cole's getting mentioned in almost every single diss track. I'm pretty sure he's saying that he did Cole dirty by just allowing him to even initiate any part of the beef with the song First Person Shooter. In Kendrick's mind, he's thinking like the fact that Drake allowed J. Cole to even call Kendrick a part of their big three on his album was a mistake. Kendrick putting faith in the audience, the general rap community, by saying that Drake can shape the stories how he wants. It's not going to matter. People are not slow. And Kendrick was right, because looking back on this beef and all the accusations that were going back and forth, the people did in fact side with Kendrick. The people are not slow. Kendrick references the movie Malibu's Most Wanted and basically likens Drake to the main character, whose name is Brad. Brad is a white man emulating black culture, so Kendrick thinks it's appropriate to compare him to Drake.
Ain't no law boy, you ball boy, fresh Gatorade or something. Since 2009, I had this bitch jumping. You niggas will get a wedgie, be flipped over your boxes or over your foe. The other vaginal option, pussy, nigga better straighten they posture. Got favorites all up in contact, might write this with a doctor. Tell a pop star quit hiding, fuck a caption, won't action, no accident. I'm hands on, he fuck around, get polished.
So Drake stays showing up to courtside at games. I feel like Drake was way too involved with the Toronto Raptors when they made their 2019 playoff run. He was on the court like he was a coach. Like, he was literally on the court. It was too much. And Kendrick is just politely asking him to settle down. Drake has a basketball court in his own crib, which I'm not gonna lie, is pretty dope. Like, that's something I would do if I was rich. But no matter how much you hoop,
you're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
And Kendrick says that he should really be just fetching Gatorade for the actual professionals. Kendrick then asks rhetorically, what's OVO for? The other vaginal option? And in case you didn't get it, he's like,
pussy, nigga better straighten they posture. Got famous all up in content. Might write this with a doctrine. Tell a pop star quit hiding. Fuck a caption, won't action. No accident, I'm hands on. He fuck around, get polished. Fucked on Wayne Grow, he was in jail. That's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad D-Rose came home, y'all didn't deserve him neither. From Alondra down to Central, nigga better not speak on Serena. And your homeboy needs subpoena. That predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. I lean on you niggas like another line of walk. Yeah, it's all eyes on me and I'ma send it up the pot. Ay, put the road label on me, I'ma get them dropped. Ay, sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox. Ay, how many stocks do I really have in stock? Ay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Ay, devil is a lie, here's 69 God. Ay, freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Ay, roll their ass up like a fresh pack of Zod. Ay, city is back up, it's a must, we outside. Ay.
Did you guys know that Drake had sex with Lil Wayne's girl when Lil Wayne was in jail? I don't know how many people knew that, but once upon a time, Lil Wayne said,
Had my heart broken by this woman named Tammy, but hoes gonna be hoes, so I couldn't blame Tammy.
And it's really unfortunate because you can tell Lil Wayne, it's not just some random girl that Drake had sex with. He said he had his heart broken by a woman named Tammy. She had sex with Drake. Now, obviously, Tammy is at fault, but Drake, what the fuck? Why would you do that? After making all these songs about, oh, I can't wait until my brother comes home. Oh, I'm going to hold it down until Wayne gets out of jail. That's how you're holding it down? By having sex with a woman that had his heart? That's crazy. Why would you do that? And I love how Kendrick just like throws that in there. Like, it's not a big deal. I find it like pretty shameful. Lil Wayne actually mentions it again on the same album in one of the most underrated Lil Wayne songs of all time. Like, people don't ever talk about the song when they talk about the Carter 4, but it's called How to Hate. And the song is about like how much he hates this girl. And he's talking about what Drake did with her again.
She used to always say, fuck my niggas. And when I went to jail, she fucked my niggas. Well,
I just love how nonchalant Lil Wayne is about this girl having sex with his friends when he's in jail. He's like, well, I guess she fucked my niggas. Like, what? But that's besides the point. Drake is terrible for that. Then Kendrick says he's glad D-Rose came home because he left the Raptors. Home is America. He's like, you guys didn't even deserve him. Then he says, don't speak on Serena Williams. Drake was taking shots at Serena Williams, man. Just because, I don't know, Drake likes her and she's with somebody else now. And Drake's like, well, he's not me. It's like, dude, people that you like are allowed to be with other people, Drake. Like, this is not healthy behavior. Apparently, Serena Williams is also from the same area that Kendrick is from. I did not know that. Kendrick is teaching me all types of things. He says your homeboy needs a peanut, that predator moves in flocks. Again, alluding to the fact that Drake has predators on his payroll. And he says, I just wanted to highlight this part where he says, sweet shit music and I won't pass the aux, which just the image of Kendrick Lamar hitting Drake with the sweet chin music kick is just really funny. Then this part clearly bothered Drake. Like, it borderline scared him. We'll talk about that at a later date. But he says, how many stocks do I really have in stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Like, insinuating that he could have up to 10 tracks about Drake. This is a different level of hate. This is an unprecedented amount of hate. Then he says, devil is a lie. He is 69 God. Freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Roll their ass up like a fresh pack of Zah. City is back up. It's a must we outside. I fuck with it. That's all I'm going to say. Now we're going to skip the hook, and then we're going to go to this next verse, which is just like, it's kind of like the equivalent of you have to give your pet medicine, so you like wrap it in something that they like so they'll take it. Kendrick is taking the most fun song of the summer, and he's like, can I give you guys a quick history lesson about the exploitation of African Americans during slavery times, and also explain to you how the equivalent of that is Drake coming from Canada to America and taking advantage of African American artists and their influence and their styles so that he can like emulate them and then profit on it. Like, you're just gonna have to hear it. It's crazy.
They not like us. Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still double down, calling us some slaves. Atlanta was the mecca, building railroads and trains. Bear with me for a second, let me put y'all on game. The settlers was using town folk to make them richer. Fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda. You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Let me break it down for you, this the real nigga challenge. You caught Future when you didn't see the club. Like, what? Little baby help you get your lingo up. What? 21 get your first street cred. Thug make you feel like you a slime in your head. Like, what? Quavo said you can be from Northside. What? 2 Chainz say you good, but he lied. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. No, you not a colleague, you a fucking colonizer. The family matter and the truth of the matter. Here was God's plan to show y'all the liar.
How must it feel to be one of the Atlanta artists listening to this song? It is true. Like, for work trips before, I've gone to Atlanta, and when I talk to people in Atlanta about their favorite artists, hip hop or otherwise, 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear Future. And it's like, Drake is a smart person when it comes to knowing what is going to play the best. It almost feels like he cultivated this relationship with Future just so he would be more successful in some of the blackest areas of America. And Kendrick is highlighting that. He's done the same thing with 21 Savage. 21 Savage, for all intents and purposes, when he's not screaming "Dada" at people when he's beating them in Madden.
Say Dada! Say Dada!
21 Savage just seems like the type of person you generally wouldn't want to mess with. And he has been notably silent throughout this beef. Also, he's done the same thing with Quavo. It feels like every time somebody is popping, Drake links up with them, makes some music with them, like takes their style, and then just stops working with them. Like, Drake was popping on a couple Migos tracks. The Migos start to fall off a bit. Rest in peace, Takeoff. And now all of a sudden, Drake isn't doing songs with them anymore. Lil Baby, at the second he starts popping, Drake does a couple of songs with him, gets what he needs, stops working with him. I just like how he includes 2 Chainz here. He's just like, 2 Chainz said you were good, but we know he was lying. And look, I'm not like a super big Young Thug listener, but I do know that Drake's made a couple of tunes with Young Thug only because every once in a while you hear Drake trying to emulate Young Thug's style, and it sounds embarrassing. If you're a Young Thug fan listening to this, can you please leave an example in the comments of a Drake and Young Thug song where he's doing that? Because it's bad. I don't know what the name of the song is, but I heard it and I just knew it was nothing I ever wanted to hear. My favorite part of the end of this verse here is not just Kendrick calling Drake a colonizer, which is actually crazy. I like how he says, the family matters and the truth of the matter, it was God's plan to show y'all the liar. There's just something about the inclusion of this that is so cool because you know that he added it after the fact. Not like us dropped so quickly after Meet the Grams and Family Matters that you know it was already pre-recorded. Kendrick went back into the booth to add this Family Matters bar just to be the cherry on top for this track. The family matter and the truth of the matter, it was God's plan to show y'all the liar. God's plan is probably Drake's most popular song, and Kendrick is saying it was in fact God's plan to show you all that Drake's the liar. Now, this last part of the song might seem like it's just dancing on Drake's grave, you know, with the OV ho stuff and the he a fan, but there's actually some meaning behind it. Being a fan of something means that you aren't directly involved with it, you're more of a spectator. You're somebody that's really just observing and appreciating it. Kendrick is basically saying, you're really just a fan of hip hop. You're not actually a part of it. You're really just kind of taking from it and then doing what you want with it. We don't actually accept you as one of the crew. And when he says fan, it also works as an acronym for freaky ass nigga. That's another thing that I find myself saying to myself all the time. Freaky ass nigga, 69 God. Like, if you ask my wife, I'm just always randomly singing that, and I can't stop. And you know how terrible that feels as somebody that is like, I often forget that Not Like Us is a Drake diss because I'm constantly just like humming it to myself all the time. And there's just something about this beat. Like, I just want to play a bit of the beat for you from the beginning, and something about it just kind of says, oh shit, here we go again. Like, something about the way the beat comes in always just makes me feel like, oh darn, we're back at it again. It's just like, just listen to this snippet. And you made it this far, you deserve to hear the end of this.
He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. He a fan, he a fan, he a freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God. Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God. Hey, 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 run for your life. Hey, 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 run for your life. Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God. Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 God. Hey, 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 run for your life. Hey, 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 run for your life. Let me hear you say OV-ho. OV-ho. Say OV-ho. OV-ho. Then step this way, step that way. Then step this way, step that way. Are you my friend? Are we locked in? Then step this way, step that way. Then step this way, step that way.
After Meet the Grams, most people gave Kendrick the edge. After Not Like Us, the jokes, the memes, the ridicule, it was just endless. Kendrick says, psst, we know about the ghostwriters, Drake. You're basically Karl Malone. You like him young. Certified lover boy, more like certified pedophiles. Aren't you tired of trolling? A minor is like the longest held note probably in the history of rap beef. Pac gets the shout out. Malibu Most Wanted is mentioned. He calls him a ball boy, a bad friend, a fan, a colonizer. He turns the entire city of Atlanta against him, and he basically single-handedly just ruins the OVO brand with the outro. So at this point, no one was really on Drake's side, and his fans, me among them, were really split between either Drake is going to drop the greatest reply of all time, or he should just like retire. Like, there's really nothing left to say. And what would Drake do? What would Drake do with all the pressure in the world on him? The Heart Part 6. When I started listening to Drake 14 years ago, I never, ever thought I would hear him put out something as embarrassing as The Heart Part 6. Every artist has bad songs, bad albums, bad ideas. But when I tell you, I haven't listened to this song in 2 months, I like to pretend that it doesn't even exist. How can I put this as plainly as humanly possible?
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep.
Derapy. Quick recap of the last thing that we heard from Kendrick. He called him a free throw, light work. He called him a predator, a ball boy, a bad friend who's surrounded by drug addicts and people that have names like Mortal Kombat characters. And I'm just still trying to figure out why those people are around. Kendrick chastised Drake for disrespecting a hip-hop legend, called him a white dude. He called him the white dude from Malibu's Most Wanted. Called him a pussy, by the way. You know, mocked his brand. Just kind of cha-cha slid on him in the meantime. Called him a parenting fail. Said his parents failed him and he's failing Adonis. Called him a colonizer. Turned the city of Atlanta against him and just reduced him to a fan. A fan. Not somebody that's at the top of the game. Not somebody that's one of the big three. Just a fan. And how would Drake respond? Well, unfortunately, that's all we're talking about today.
All right. Pulitzer Prize winner is definitely spiraling. I got your fucking lines tapped, I swear that I'm dialed in. First I was a rat, so where's the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork of the cabinet is filed in? 1090 Jake would've took all the walls down. The streets would've had me hiding out in a small town. My Montreal connects stand up, not fall down. The ones that you getting your stories from, they all clowns.
Now, some of you already know why I just stopped it right there. Drake is telling us that the stories that Kendrick is telling, he's hearing from clowns. Clowns, which is basically him saying, these are unreliable sources you're getting these from. It's totally made up. And before this, he's talking about how if he is a rat, where is the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork or the cabinet it's filed in? He wants us to know, because I don't think he's talking to Kendrick directly. He's trying to let us know that, well, if I'm a snitch, why isn't there any proof of it? And you know what? That's fine. That's totally fair. If Kendrick doesn't have proof of you ratting, then that's fine. But this is supposed to be a diss, and it sounds like you just being defensive right now. Drake also claims that he would be hiding out in a small town if he was actually a snitch, because the streets of Canada are so dangerous that if he actually was tattletaling, somebody would have gunned him down by now. Okay, Drake, we'll take your word for it. Canada is very dangerous. I can't even say that with a straight face.
I am a war general, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals, honor and decoration. You waited for this moment, overcome with the desperation. We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information.
Once upon a time, I used to write raps myself. If you've been listening to the show for a while, which most people that are listening to this have not been, you would know that I used to rap on the show every once in a while, just like for fun.
Okay, a supercut exclusive.
Let's go.
Yeah. 11 years old, getting bullied about the glasses. I used to be afraid to get caught lacking between the classes. And in high school, I was trying to impress the girls and they were laughing. But you gotta remember who's laughing with you and who's laughing. Wait, talking about being popular back in grade school, that's lame as hell. If I ever do it again, then I swear to God, just kick my tail. I should not be swearing. My mom's a God-fearing woman and I fear the man upstairs too, but he's cool with what I've been cooking.
Anyways,
And the way that I used to write rap sometimes is I would have like a good bar, and then I would literally look for words online that rhymed with the word at the end of the bar. And that's how I would construct my next couple of sets of bars. And can I just be honest? I feel like Drake is doing that here. Like desperation, information, decoration, desperation, preparation. These words rhyme. So Drake is a rapper. All I'm trying to say is, like, I'm not trying to claim that I'm a better rapper than Drake. I'm just saying that it's kind of a basic rhyme scheme. And I just feel like I just feel like he's capable of more than that. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. Damn. So he says he's a war general seasoned in preparation. He could be referring to, these medals and honor and decoration of his other victories, which I can't really name many outside of the Meek Mill one, but you guys will, I'm sure, fill me in on that. We plotted for a week and then fed you the information is really, really interesting.
Because y'all met up, locked in, and gave him the answers to the test.
If Kendrick is saying a whole bunch of stuff that Drake fed him, what a terrible... You know what? I'm going to tell you guys a story that I actually told once upon a time and then deleted because I was so embarrassed of it. But this is about Drake, not me. I had an ex once upon a time that gained access to a group chat of mine. And I found out that she did this, so I started saying all types of terrible things about her because I knew that she would see it. Not a nice thing to do.
But we regret nothing.
But, since you're here. So what she did was she took these messages that I was sending to my friends about how much she sucked, and then she posted them to Facebook with the context of, oh, one of Derek's friends sent me these messages of all these horrible things he was saying about me. Now, I knew, and I believe that she knew, that I wasn't being serious in these messages. But she got to contextualize it however she wanted because she was the distributor of this information. Drake claiming that a lot of the things that Kendrick is saying is because Drake gave him the information, and then Kendrick ends up winning the rap beef. How does that not look even worse for Drake? You literally gave him the playbook to beat you. Do you know how stupid that is? Also, the juxtaposition of the information you're getting is from clowns, and also We're the Clowns is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard in any song ever.
A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. We thought about giving a fake name or a destination, but you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Instead, you in that Venice studio, it's a celebration. You gotta learn to fact check things and be less impatient. Your fans are rejoicing, thinking this is my expiration. Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication, the Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation.
Now that I've mentioned it, I can't stop unhearing it. Like, wow, this is really impressive. This is very impressive by a guy that's trying to take out, like, the best rapper in the world right now. Hear me out, guys. He did rhyme destination with investigation, and then celebration, and then impatient, and then expiration, and then medication. Are you impressed? I personally, as a Drake fan, was not impressed, but maybe this does something for you. For me, it does not. It did not excite me. Your monotone delivery and your kindergarten rhymes do not move me. And do you know how strange it is being the guy that got exposed for having a son that he was hiding, having like a private meeting with his closest friends about how he's going to pretend to have an 11-year-old daughter so a guy can diss him with it? Doesn't that strike you as like a strange use of your time? I haven't listened to this song in a really long time, but I'm actually sitting here wondering if there is a single good thing that Drake does in this song.
Master manipulator, you bid on a speculation. You dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication. What about the bones we dug up in that excavation? And why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months, the distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now.
Now buckle up, my friends, because what is, in my opinion, the worst part of this song is about to come up. But let's talk about what we just heard first. You've probably noticed that like my energy level is lower in this episode because I am actually experiencing in real time secondhand embarrassment, just trying to explain what I think Drake is saying. Drake is saying that it is possible that Whitney is confirming the fact that she's been abused based on her silence? Whitney isn't like a YouTuber. She's not going to come out with a video like, guys, I know what Drake is saying. Kendrick did not hit me.
Smash that like button.
What does he think she's supposed to do? Drake is also trying to convince us that because Whitney is following Dave Free on Instagram and not following Kendrick Lamar, that this clearly proves that they had an affair and she had Dave Free's child. Drake, a grown man in his mid-30s, is trying to convince you that the validity and affection level of somebody's relationship is based on their Instagram activity.
What the fuck?
Kendrick's advantage is that the majority of the things that he was dissing Drake about were things that maybe just not everybody knew, but were like verifiably true and like were very indicative of the type of person that Drake actually is. I don't care about Drake's nose, but if somebody's making claims that he got work done, you can look at before and after pictures. Clearly, Drake was hiding his son, so when Kendrick brings that up again, nobody's surprised.
He has a son?
Lil Wayne openly talks about Drake having sex with this girl, so when Kendrick brings it up, nobody's like, I wonder what clowns he's getting this information from. The irony of Drake telling Kendrick that he needs to come with receipts is ridiculous because pretty much all the stuff, with the exception of the daughter, all the stuff that Kendrick is talking about, like a quick Google search will show you like video evidence of the stuff he's talking about. Now we're 10 minutes in and Drake is actually only digging himself deeper into the loser's hole. But I promise you, what we're about to hear is actually so much worse.
Now this Epstein angle was the shit I expected.
Stop talking! I almost cut the track off right there on my very first listen. You're telling me you actually went into a studio and recorded yourself saying, I knew that you would take this Epstein angle. Everybody already thinks I'm a predator. Could you imagine Kendrick Lamar getting on a song in the middle of a rap beef and being like, I knew you would say that I was beating my wife. Do you have any idea how dumb this sounds? I think he's trying to do like a whole B-Rabbit 8 Mile type angle. It does not work when it comes to like diddling kids, Drake. I'm having a hard time even talking about what Drake is talking about. The words don't come naturally for me. Drake is really out here with his chest out saying, I knew you'd compare me to Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody already thinks that I'm a diddler. Brother, seek help.
TikTok videos you collected and dissected. Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit.
Drake is now trying to convince you, a likely high school graduate, that Kendrick is getting all of his information from the Clock app in order to diss him and call him a child predator. You're telling me that Kendrick Lamar is sitting in the studio with a beat made by DJ Mustard, scrolling through TikTok to dig up dirt to call you a colonizer? Do you have any idea how stupid this shit sounds? I have never been so embarrassed to be a Drake fan in my life. It wasn't Meet the Grams. It wasn't Not Like Us. It was this. This actually hurt me the most.
My mom came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second. That's that one record where you say you got molested. Oh, fuck me. I just made the whole connection.
I'm actually getting pissed off. So Drake is telling us the story of this fabricated conversation between him and his mother, where apparently he had this epiphany that Kendrick is calling him a pedophile because he was molested as a child. When if Drake listened to the fucking read the lyrics on Genius like I'm doing right now for a show that nobody is going to listen to, relatively speaking, compared to Drake's final diss track, Drake is trying to convince you that on a song where Kendrick explicitly said he wasn't touched, he actually was, and that's why he's so upset with Drake, he's projecting.
I could run through a wall right now.
This about to get so depressing. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with is so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive, but you just never known affection. I don't wanna dish you anymore.
Aubrey Drake Graham, a Grammy Award-winning rap artist, first of all, is rhyming excessive and aggressive and affection, and he expects you to be impressed by it. And then goes on to say that he actually feels bad for dissing Kendrick based off of a lyric that he misinterpreted off of Kendrick's album. Kendrick predicted this, by the way. He literally said that he would make things up because he has the media literacy of my cat and can't understand that Kendrick is talking about generational trauma and the effects of it on the black community. Drake is like, yeah, Kendrick got touched as a kid and that's why he's so upset with me right now. My brother in Christ, lock in, okay? You have to do better than this. And to try and use this as an excuse to duck out of the beef again? In Family Matters, Drake is like, I'm going on vacation. You guys try better next time. And now he's in The Heart Part 6 like, no, you know what? No, I feel bad for Kendrick. I don't want to diss him anymore. Bozo, you lost the beef and you're just trying to find a way to cut ties and get out of it. It's so painful, but there's still more.
This really got me second guessing. Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play, you probably start reflecting. I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why this the angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested.
I'm on fire.
Drake is trying to use the argument that if a tree fell in a forest and no one was around to hear it, did it even touch a child?
I haven't been arrested, so what makes you think I've committed any crimes?
People that are famous have never gotten in trouble for anything ever. Did you know that the more Instagram followers you have, the less likely you are to be detained? Donald Trump just got convicted for 34 different things and then shot in the face. Being famous does not release you of responsibility or consequences. And Drake choosing to actually say on a recorded line, quote, if I was fucking young girls, end quote, I feel gross just saying that Drake said it. The fact that you've even put in a position where you feel like you have to say this is an L on its own. And this loser is actually referencing Mariah Carey's Touch My Body and trying to say that if Kendrick heard that, he'd probably start reflecting. He'd probably make him feel very awkward. I've never been so confident until this very moment in my life that I could beat Drake in a fist fight. And I don't even box for real, but like, has anybody's pin game ever been so bad that you actually think less of them physically?
I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not the lesson. Clearly there's a deeper message. Deep cuts that never healed and now they got infected. Like if Dave really fucked your girl and got her pregnant. Talk about breeding resentment. Not sure how to ease the sentiment, the shit's too intimate. I'm praying you recover from both incidents, but you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence. Drake is not a name that you gon' see on no sex offender list. Easy does it.
Drake the type of guy to say easy does it in a rap beef. And I can't stress to you enough how ridiculous it is that you have to openly say that Drake isn't a name that you're going to find on a sex offender list. And I know this is low-hanging fruit, but it wouldn't say Drake. It would say Aubrey. Also, Drake continuing to pretend to feel bad for a thing that didn't happen, I find to be so ridiculously embarrassing. It's barely worth mentioning. I'm praying you recover from both incidents, but you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence. Is Drake trying to say that Kendrick Lamar deserved to be molested as a child? Which I once again would like to remind you, literally didn't happen, but he's trying to say that it's no coincidence that he was taken advantage of as a minor because he's being mean to Drake right now. What the how did we, what happened to the game I love?
You mentioned an A minor, but niggas gotta be sharp and tell the fans who was it. You thought you left D flat, D major. I slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama screensaver. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never look twice at no teenager.
Dude, the more that I listen to this song back and forth just so I can continue to talk about it, the more like genuinely upset I am becoming. Drake is taking time out of his precious life to try and flip the A minor bar to say that you got to B sharp and tell the fans who was it. Then goes on to say, you thought you left D flat, D major? I'll slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross air like that one flight from Malaysia. So he's Drake threatening to crash a plane that Rick Ross is on. Also just randomly mentioning Rick Ross like 4 minutes into the song. It's just so random, but not nearly as random as just saying I'm your baby mama's screensaver. What are you currently on about? Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I'd never look twice at no teenager. Liar! Literally, the episode before this, I showed you 2 examples of not only Millie Bobby Brown doing Drake just an all-time disservice. We want to talk about snitches, tattletales. Millie Bobby Brown basically ruined Drake with that clip of her saying that Drake was texting her talking about how much he missed her when she was 14. Then says that he would never look twice at no teenager when he is literally on tape at a concert in Denver, Colorado in 2010. Literally looking twice at a teenager, has the girl tell him that she's 17, then says he likes the way her breasts feel against him. I'm getting sick even talking about this. These are things that are facts. And I want you to remember that when we get towards the end of this song and Drake starts talking about what's true and what isn't true. Because I don't understand how he can say these things with such confidence, knowing what is so easily accessible via the World Wide Web.
I'm a fucking hit maker, dawg, not a peacemaker. Yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber. Your ass in extreme danger. Stop buying views and buy comments. You may as well keep the paper. Shit you about to need for later. I give a fuck about your streaming data. You could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. I don't wanna fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could thank the savior. Said if they deleted his music, then your music is going to a hypocrite. I don't understand why these people praise you. Sounding like you sent him commissary when he needs some paper. Album dropping soon, no wonder you turn a clout chaser instead of doing hard labor. Nigga, I see you when I see you like Fantasia. And Whitney, you can hit me if you need a favor. And when I say I hit your back, it's a lot safer. I promise.
I'm a hit maker, dog, not a peacemaker. Well, hit-wise, this song flopped harder than Magikarp. It's under 30 million views on YouTube. Not Like Us is over 100 million. Drake has actually gotten to a point where he's straight up given up on trying to beat Kendrick in a straight up battle and just accuses him of buying views and bots like a Deji and KSI beef or something. Drake is saying he doesn't want to beef with a woman beater after dropping 3 straight tracks about the woman beater. And one of the last things Drake has to say to end this beef with him and Kendrick Lamar is that he is a hypocrite because he's the reason that people are still listening to R. Kelly.
Editor Derek looked into this, by the way, because we received some feedback about not addressing this harmful fact that apparently Kendrick Lamar told Spotify they'd have to take his music down if they wanted to take R. Kelly's music down. It was actually Top Dog, who was the head of TDE, and Kendrick actually made it clear that his opinions and statements were his own and did not represent Kendrick Lamar. So it's not even true.
I am almost completely speechless. I know that sounds ridiculous because we're 22 minutes and 43 seconds into this podcast. But when I tell you, I have never been so disappointed in a music artist in my entire life.
And I know what R. Kelly did
I see piss coming, I move. She saw piss coming, she stayed.
And if you thought Drake was done letting me down because he finished rapping, just wait until you hear his little epilogue, his little monologue, his little send-off, where he thinks that he really thinks he's doing something with this. This is the sound of a tired, defeated, pathetic excuse of a man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, this shit was some good exercise. Like, it's good to get out, get the pen working. You would be a worthy competitor if I was really a predator and you weren't fucking lying to every blogger and editor, but
You would be a worthy competitor if I was really a predator. You weren't fucking lying to every blogger and editor. What are you doing right now? I want to believe that when Drake is making this track, he's making it with the intention of Kendrick Lamar listening to it directly. Does Drake actually think it's going to do any damage to Kendrick when he's like, for the record, this would have been fun, but you started lying? My guy, it's over.
it is what it is. You definitely got this shit burnt the fuck out though, like. Drop. You got 10 more records to drop. The one before the last one, we finessed you into telling a story that doesn't even exist.
Drake claims he finessed Kendrick into telling a story that doesn't exist after telling a story that does not exist about Kendrick in his childhood. But go off, brother.
And then you go and drop the West Coast one to try and cover that up. I would like that one. That would be some shit I could dance to if he wasn't tripling down on some whole other bullshit, but
Drake is disappointed in Kendrick Lamar because he wanted to dance to Not Like Us, but every time people start screaming A minor, it kind of kills the vibe for him. Nah, that West Coast joint was really cool, but that part where he said that Baca's got a weird case, something about that just kind of turns me off. I'm still trying to figure out why he's around. It was really catchy until he started yelling OV ho. I gotta be honest, that wasn't really my favorite part. And I don't know why he called me a colonizer. I don't even know what that means. 2 Chainz, Lil Baby, the Savage Guy, those are my pals, okay? If you could drop a version of Not Like Us where you aren't saying those mean things about me, I would really appreciate that because my name is Drake and I like to dance. I could not Tootsie Slide to you calling me a pussy. It just doesn't work.
you know, at least your fans are getting some raps out of you. I'm happy I can motivate you, bring you back to the game, like, you know, but just let me know when we're getting to the facts. Everything in my shit is facts. I'm waiting on you to return the favor, like.
I'm looking at the lyrics on my phone right now, and the very last word of this song is like. Drake just kind of trails off. He just gives up. He takes the headphones off and just walks out of the studio. I'm waiting on you to return the favor, like. And he just leaves. That's the last thing we hear from Drake in this beef. He says, everything in my shit is facts. How is it possible that you can say this knowing somebody had to have told Drake that Kendrick didn't actually get touched? You would think that somebody would tell Drake, hey man, you rapping about how you're not on a sex offender list isn't actually a good look. Hey man, you saying that you expected him to call you a pedophile probably isn't a good look, man. Hey, you mentioning Millie Bobby Brown by name probably isn't a good look, considering there is that interview where she said that you guys are texting back and forth about boy problems. Hey man, you saying that Whitney's screensaver is you is kind of corny and unnecessary. Hey, you mentioning Touch My Body by Mariah Carey and thinking that's actually a diss and doesn't make you sound like a complete dork. I don't know if that's the best move, man. I don't really know what else to say. What I've heard from people is that The Heart Part 6 is one of the only songs that it's very clear that Drake was the only person involved in writing it, and I think that says all you need to know about the boy. I think it's obvious the state of the beef after the song release because Kendrick decided, good, just gonna let that one sit, you know? I feel like what else really needs to be said? You could argue that The Heart Part 6 was one of the best disses of the beef, but it was actually just a diss towards Drake himself and his fans, me among them at the time. But just when you thought it was actually finally done, a month later, Juneteenth would happen. The Pop Out Ken and Friends event featured over 25 West Coast artists to show that whenever it came to starting beef with the West Coast, you really had to see everybody. DJ Heed, Mustard, Ty Dolla $ign, Dom Kennedy, Steve Lacy was there for some reason. Tyler, the Creator, popped out, who I thought had a good relationship with Drake. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Roddy Ricch, YG, ironically, who Drake himself shouted out, probably performed longer than anybody else there besides Kendrick himself. Kendrick performed every single one of his diss tracks with the exception of Meet the Grams. Not really the type of song you can perform in a packed out arena, but he did perform Euphoria to start off his set, and he even changed some of the lyrics, basically demanding Drake return Tupac's ring if he wanted any type of respect.
If I was a betting man, I would say that I don't think Drake and Kendrick are ever going to see eye to eye, and that is not a short joke.
But the show's finale was actually Kendrick performing Not Like Us, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 5 times. But 2 really huge things happened during that performance. One was the entire crowd singing along to the A minor bar, that infamous A minor bar. But Dr. Dre was the one that introduced Kendrick performing the song. It was legendary. It was like nothing I had ever seen. And so many different artists, so many different athletes took the stage. Members of rivaling gangs took the stage. It was literally like a celebration of somebody's death almost. The end of the beef, the end of the back and forth between Kendrick and Drake. It felt ceremonious. It felt huge. It felt grand. It was like nothing I'd ever watched live before, and it really made up for what was going on prior, because Jesus Lord, there were so many artists that performed that night that I just cared nothing for. But respect to Kendrick for putting on young up-and-coming West Coast artists. But it wasn't even just artists that all came out to show out and dance on the grave of Drake, but it was also celebrities. Like, I mean, obviously Rick Ross is going to pull up. The Weeknd is there. LeBron James, I fear. Russell Westbrook was there. DeMar DeRozan, who used to play for the Raptors, who it seemed like had a decent relationship with Drake. That was no longer the case. Lakeith Stanfield, SZA, who's done many a song with Drake. I thought they were friends. I wouldn't like my friends to pop out to a show like that. That was just mocking me relentlessly. It was a lot. And honestly, I feel like that on its own was enough to permanently tarnish Drake. Not Like Us was already the biggest hit of the year. But then that show streamed on Amazon Prime. Celebrities, athletes, musicians, everybody popping out, and Twitter was just a mess. Surely Drake was off the grid while this was happening. But can I tell you? There was more. You want to talk about relentless? You want to talk about a bully? You want to talk about showing no mercy? He wasn't done. Then the 4th of July happened. God bless America.
You're missing something.
Okay. On the 4th of July, during an annual white party that many celebrities, including Drake,
We got him.
were definitely attending.
In 4K.
Kendrick pops out the music video for Not Like Us, wearing all white and waving almost certainly at Drake. Tommy the Clown is shown at the beginning of the video and featured throughout, which of course Drake did mention clowns in the world's worst diss. Kendrick is doing push-ups to remind Drake how it all began. Kendrick is seen beating the dog shit out of an owl pinata during the wop 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 portion of the song. Just as text shows across the bottom of the screen that at least no OV hoes were harmed in the making of the video. It's cruel. Kendrick is playing solo hopscotch during the A minor bar that's being sung by children. It's so on the nose, it hurts. DeMar DeRozan makes a cameo appropriately because he is name dropped in the song. And by far, the best part of this video, Kendrick with Whitney and his children crip walking to the most popular Drake diss of all time. Whitney, the woman who Drake claimed Kendrick was beating mercilessly. The same woman that apparently cheated on Kendrick and had an illegitimate child that Kendrick was being forced to raise because his best friend betrayed him. He is also the same person that apparently directed this music video. Whitney is glowing, the family is happy, and these kids look like clones of Kendrick. Drake is dead. He's dead. No one who says this battle was close is a serious person. Get these people out of your circle. I'm exhausted. I haven't, since I began putting this supercut together in the past week, I have not been able to listen to Drake. It's been weighing on me heavily, and I don't know how I'm gonna go back, when I'm gonna go back. But you know, at the end of the day, art is subjective. Even though there might be disagreements between Kendrick fans and Drake fans and who should consume what music and why, at the end of the day, we're all just out here trying to have fun. This video and podcast are not monetized, but a few people who provided monetary support for this fun little show of mine, the show that a month ago had 200 subscribers and was averaging 12 audio listens per show. Some people wanted to support that, and now feels like the appropriate time to give those people their due time. A special shout out to Chris, Cariana, Tiffany McCrary, Janelle Rohan, Adeshola Williams, Cohen Gray, Jamie Smith, Julius Segelquist, Inai, that's I-N-A-I, by the way. Dalvian, my dude, thank you.
Shout out May Ricky.
Shira, Abigail Brownlee, Dylan Carter, Benjamin Shaw, Lamont Landrum Jr., Samira R. Soto, Andrea Coleman, Kiri Hayes, and I urge you, if you want to support this show, I put 4, 5, 6 hours into this. I don't know. My wife knows how long. Just today, putting this together. If you want to show support and you don't want to break the bank, you can become a member of the Derapy YouTube channel for literally $1. I feel like it's a fair trade. I give you a 4-hour video. You give me 99 cents. I don't feel like I'm hustling you, but you know, I could be wrong. I also said that there was no reason to fear Chris Brown, so who knows. Special shout outs to the newest members, the day ones, JB Frosty, Ash, and Realm Hopper 22. I'll remember you. And love you. I mean it.
A gift from me to you.
Now they claim they high on me, but Spice and I are locked in, so there's not a single chance in hell they trying me.
Damn.
I forgive a bully, but I don't forget. I'm not mad, but if I ever see you suck my, I'm just playing, man, I'm joking. It's all fun, I'm poking. Short but tough like Rogan. Taking shots, you choking. I just had an epiphany while writing this symphony. Name could go down in infamy because it just occurred to me that I can say whatever. Bob, Google, Gaga, got them gun drops. Yeah, I know it's stupid, but that's the same reason that I won't stop spitting the fire like Drogon. You better not doze off like it is an 8 a.m. lecture. I am the pinnacle, listen, it's critical. This is a miracle, what I am doing. There is no plan to stop what I'm pursuing. I have been grinding while you have been snoozing. What is the plan? Well, the plan is not losing. Just getting started, there's more than I'm brewing. I'm out of shape. That is not a bar. Just my current state like Tennessee. I can't afford Hennessy. Alcohol, my remedy. Won't stop for a century. Go on for infinity. Cutting up like surgery. Execute so clinically. My first car was burgundy. Man, that shit was ugly, but it got my ass from A to B. Rapping simple ABCs. Don't know why they hate on me. Something season 3. Derapy? So obsessed, man. Working possessed, man. If my girl leave me, I feel bad for the next man. No, she great, he won't live up. Make sure you don't miss the point. Feeling high but ducking joints. Do I ever disappoint? No. Not once ever. No. If you didn't know before, but now you know better. Yeah. Am I the greatest spitter? I guess it's all relative. Better grab your girl before I go and give her better.
Stop that right.
What were you thinking? I'm talking conversation. I got gifted the gab. I get tips when I cab. I hope you learn your lesson. Take a break from hating before you go and miss your own blessing.